Daddy? Daddy?
Hello.
Early bird. I thought I was insomniac. Looking for worms?
Phallus impudicus.
Dad, you better remember that when you next go to confession.
Come here.
What are they?
They're a kind of mushroom. Can't you smell them?
Ugh! Smells like dead rats.
Smell comes from the green slime on the caps.
Wish you told me that after breakfast.
They're commonly called stinkhorns.
And very apt.
Germans used to call the eggs they come from devil's eggs. They used to use them to make aphrodisiacs.
Must have gone to bed with pegs on their noses. Mum has written. She gets back from Germany today.
Deserting a displaced person? Hard to think of her out there playing Lady Bountiful. You know, you should have done something like that.
Maybe I believe charity begins at home, getting you sorted out.
You should be making a home of your own.
Don't think we'll go into that if you don't mind.
I wish I could help.
We'll have another item of confession if you're not careful. You're wishing to do better than God.
Man's gone back to his wife.
There's never any doubt that he would. We're both good Catholics.
Poor love.
That was the war, that was. I'll go and see Mrs. Laird about breakfast. Cole?
Cole, don't be all day. I've to open the library at 9. You didn't pull the chain again.
I didn't do anything.
Well, what were you doing in there then?
I was trying, but you put me off.
Another for serving.
Has anybody called Blake?
I'll let him lie in. He was working down in his yard till God knows what time last night. It's Saturday, anyway.
What's that got to do with it?
Well, he works for himself now. I don't see why he shouldn't anticipate the 5-day week we'll all want when the country gets back on its feet.
Whenever that might be.
When Nelson gets his eye back. I won't never get, your mother used to say. The only union that she ever belonged to was Mother's Union. 6 days shalt thou labour. And you know where that's written.
Yeah, conditions of employment, Whitstanton ironworks.
No reading at table. And I want a nice clean plate today, young fella, my lad. It's your last day.
Make it sound like the Day of Judgment.
And that's not so far off neither.
Oh, Dad, the sun's shining on creation this morning. We know you're in touch with the Maker. Don't let it go in just yet, eh?
He's going to a better place than this is, Cole. 42 Betsy Street, my old house. You're going to like it there, Cole. I can vouch for it. I lived at peace when I lived in Betsy Street. Amen.
Ready to help me get us all moved today, then, are you?
If you want me to.
I'll take this up for Jean.
Well, that wasn't very gracious, was it? If you want me to.
I don't want to go.
You'll have a house of your own. Everyone wants a house of their own.
This is my house. I can't see it anymore.
That's not enough to keep a sparrow alive, let alone move house on. Oh, very well. What'd you say?
Please can leave the table.
Off you go. Wants to leave the table, but doesn't want to leave the house.
Maybe it rubs off from Owen. Well, Owen's only going because he knows he must. They've got to lead their own lives. A man with a child's fear of the dark is Owen.
I've seen no fear in him, in his job. When he goes out in the dark after poachers.
Another kind of dark, I meant. Yeah.
Oh. They say the last of the Ukrainians left the camp yesterday.
Ernest left last week. I went round to try and see him, but they'd already taken him off.
Letter for you. Oh. Bill for you. Oh, and one for Blake with a German stamp.
I'll just get my shoes and then I'm off.
Well, wait Blake for me, will you? I forgot. Mark's calling for him.
That'll be from his Fraulein.
They want me to sing.
Blake's coming to mend the engine of my father's steam launch up at the lake. Why didn't you come with us?
I've homework to do.
What, all weekend?
We still get homework. You went to boarding school, didn't you?
Public school. The same one my father went to. Grandfather, too, as a matter of fact.
What was it like?
Awful, for me. Well, some of the chaps liked it well enough, I dare say. Depends on your temperament, I suppose. Peg says that's why I like your house.
Why?
It's a home. I don't feel I ever had one.
Breakfast ready.
Good. How's Mark making out at the estate office? Does he like it, you think?
Why don't you ask him?
Well, I've been more or less tied to the ironworks since I got back from the States. Getting to grips with things. I was hoping he'd say something. I imagine if he hated the job, he would have.
He loves it. It was the ironworks he hated. I'm glad you didn't try to pressurize him into carrying on the family name there.
Yes, well, I understood, you see. I inherited the double responsibility, the works and the estate. I know where my own real interest lies. Perhaps I envy him in a way. Is he still keen on Peg, is he?
They're inseparable. Except that there's the same old problem, of course.
She won't become a Catholic?
Mark thinks she shouldn't have to. She waits in patience while he agonizes. I think we shall lose him.
Mea culpa?
Oh, for heaven's sake, get rid of that hair shirt, Daddy. He hated school. He barely got to university when we had a war. It should have been some of the best years of his life he spent in the army. He's institutionalized. It's almost worse than if he'd been an orphan.
Oh, that's a terrible thought. Terrible for me, I mean.
Oh, it's not all your fault. Any more than it was that you and Mummy separated. I don't want to open up old wounds, but she was unfaithful to you. The fact the man was killed, that you're both alone now, doesn't alter that.
Did she take it very badly when he was killed?
Yes. Well, I say that. We hardly saw each other for 4 years.
Did you meet him at all?
No. She wanted me to. I couldn't. I don't think Mark would have either. Still, your charm seems to have worked on Peg. Maybe she'll convert him. Peg's brother's coming today, by the way, to mend the engine of the steam launch for you.
It is almost impossible now to move between zones which are occupied by Americans or British or Russians. Now I am in the British zone, where my father still is, but for some few weeks only. Soon I must return to the East. This is the last letter I'm writing to you.
Where is Owen?
He'll be in the attic, looking for some of his old things we put away there.
Oh, I can't think why he wants to take everything. With most of Grandad's furniture still in the place. Oh, I just wish that van would come. You know we're taking the bed.
Stop worrying. We're moving Lovett's bed in there. But I think he wants to stay with Blake. Something's making him miserable. Moodiness seems to be contagious in this house.
Oh, I'm sorry. But honestly, I think Owen would take the wallpaper.
It's better like this. It'll help you, both of you.
I'm glad Ernst came here that time. He loved you all. I think you reminded him of his family. You know the prisoners have gone from the camp?
Yes, I know.
Perhaps he's with them now. His family. The dead. I wanted it too, you know. To die. He wouldn't let me.
He was right.
I'm glad about your news. I shall miss it hearing you sing. Not that I know anything about music.
Neither do I.
Does George know?
No. He's always been a bit odd about my singing. As if it came between us, silly man. What about your politics? I say to him. Oh, I'll tell him in due course.
Mark's gone for Blake. It's no great rush. Peg gone.
Did she pass you?
I've been on the beach with Lovett. We're picking her up at the library if they let her off.
I'll tell Blake you're here. Excuse me.
love it. Fishing, in port.
Can't, Grandad. Dad won't let me.
Won't let you? Since when?
Since we sank last week.
We didn't sink. We proved it would float full of water.
I've homework in any case.
Taking my mate off me now, is he?
Hello, darling. We didn't expect you so soon.
I got back last night. I assumed you'd be here. Haven't come to drag you back to my place, by the way, just to see you. Your father here?
Yes. Mark's here with Peg's brother. They're doing something to the steam launch. Let's go and see what they're up to.
Do you think your father might have some spare petrol coupons?
Thought you got extra rations for your work.
Oh, I've come rather a long way. Should have taken the train, really. But I've got to go back from a different airfield at the end of next week. He's no idea what I've actually been doing in Germany, has he?
He's assumed you've been playing Lady Bountiful to the troops. I haven't even had to tell a little white lie.
Yes, I thought he might assume I'd been doing something like that.
It's a natural assumption to pre-war you, isn't it?
It would be, for him.
Oh, Mummy, be kind. You haven't spoken to each other for more than 5 or 6 hours in as many years. How do you know there isn't a new post-war hymn, too?
She hides it. Says it makes me fat.
You can have my sugar ration.
Oh, I'm not really annoyed. It's her way of getting back at me for what I always like to think of as my war effort. Fraternizing with the Yankees, she calls it. It sounds worse than fraternizing with Jerry.
Excuse me, I think Blake's having some trouble. I think you ought to have a word with himself.
Oh, then I will, of course.
Why'd you call him sir?
Class habit. Respect for one's parents should be demonstrated even when it doesn't exist. Like a lot of other things, it dies hard.
Old sourpuss.
Oh, you were laughing with him just now.
I didn't mean him. I meant you.
Mark! Look who's here. Come on down.
Problems in your port injector. It's in pretty bad condition. You're going to need a new one. They could make you one at the works. I'm not allowed on the premises. One of your managers fired me.
I gather you weren't too dismayed. Peg tells me you started in business on your own. What is what the country needs?
To get off our pre-war backsides and work, you mean? As opposed to just collecting the rent.
Well, I suppose that's part of it. I think I can understand the reason for that particular socialist point of view.
I'm not a socialist, as a matter of fact. I don't believe in nationalization. I just want a world in which what people have has been fairly earned.
And looking me straight in the eye as you say it.
Nothing personal.
But if the cap fits, wear it. Yes?
John?
How was Germany?
Chaos.
Good to see you.
Peg wants you to be in this photograph with him.
You stay to lunch?
I could be persuaded.
Good. Good.
He's assumed we've been introduced. I'm Beth Warrington, Mark's mother.
Blake Hayward. You've been in Germany?
I've just come back from there.
I've been trying to get there for the last 12 months. They say it's impossible.
It is for most people. Why do you want to get to Germany?
I have a friend there.
English.
German.
It's interesting.
Beth! Peg wants you on this one.
Coming.
Pass me the half-inch, will you? That's a 1-inch, you public school.
Suppose even a woman should know the difference between half and 1 inch. I'm Mark's sister, Ros.
Blake Hayward.
Been binding to you about his public school education, has he?
Yeah, since we met just before the end.
The end? Doesn't feel like the end, does it? Doesn't to me, and over a year's gone by. Same grey old wartime world. If we're not careful, we shall get too fond of it.
Yeah.
That's something new, of course. Peg, Mark. Can't imagine that happening before the war. You approve?
Well, hope I'm not a snob.
Ah, boot on the other foot now, eh?
Come on, you two. Lunch!
You're staying?
Well, I hope so. I've always wanted to see how the other half eats. Away from the officers' mess.
I'll be along in a minute. Interesting family.
Like us. No two the same.
They tell me you're a wizard with an engine.
Oh, anything that makes the wheels go round.
I might be able to get you to Germany.
How?
I don't want to talk about it here. Get Mark to bring you over to the cottage.
English gentleman. It's good to see you. Have you got any more news from Blake?
Yes, I received this morning. He should be here in a couple of days. You know how unpredictable travelling is these days?
Yes. Without your help, I couldn't even have come here to my father's funeral. If I had only come to the West when Blake wished me to, how different life would have been.
We thought your father was in the East. And life's no better here than in the Russian sector.
You have been?
No, I haven't.
And how could you know what kind of life I speak of?
When does your permit expire? I've forgotten.
In a week. I could run away. Disappear in the city, of course. Don't be alarmed. I shall not embarrass you. You know I have to go back. And why? And since I have to go back, it is better not to see him.
It's the reason he's coming.
Yes, I know. But when my father is buried, I shall go. You understand?
Yes. Yes, I understand.
Be any room on this thing for us?
Well, it's always like this. Hello, Fred.
Hello, Troy.
This is Blake Haywards.
Oh,
What are
no.
our chances?
Well,
We simply wait, hopefully.
Voice of experience.
It was worse during the war.
You flew during the war?
To France. Well, it's no longer secret.
Except from your husband.
We're separated. Well, I suppose you've gathered that from Mark. Must Must be obvious anyway.
It isn't, actually. Well, not when you're together.
How much can you know of any two people by simply seeing them together? Not much, I think. Sorry.
I know it's none of my business, but why do you not want him to know all this?
There was a man who was responsible for my becoming involved. I met him through my coding work. I speak German, French.
And this refugee thing you're involved in?
Through him also. Though he was dead when they asked me to do it. Through his memory, you could say.
You run the whole thing?
You sound as disbelieving as my husband. It's my turn to be curious. About your German friend.
We met on VE Day. I was in the tank corps station in her town. When the Alta agreement was made up, we were inside the Russian sector. We pulled back and she stayed. She was searching for her father.
She's been there ever since. How it is in Germany now. You have sympathy for them?
Certain amount. Not for Buchenwald, Auschwitz, Dachau.
Going to be a problem for them too, learning to live with it. And there were people in the German labour movement before the war. Some got out, some stayed, died in the camps.
Mrs. Warrington! Thank you for helping with this.
Well, I'm hoping that when you see what it's like out there, you'll want to stay and help us. We need your skills to keep our supply trucks moving.
I want to go down to the sea.
Shall we go down with him?
No, you go with him. I'll go in and let them know we're here.
What have I done?
Done? I don't understand you.
I've done something. Said something, haven't I? I've upset you.
It's not you. It's me. Always moody on Sundays. You go with him. I'll go in.
How long have you had this?
He told me at school 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks?
I was runner-up, but the boy who won the place can't take it.
Have you told anybody else?
No.
Anybody you think is ashamed? You've won a scholarship to a good school. You should be proud, not ashamed. I just don't understand you, Lovett.
I don't want to go.
Why?
Just don't. Just don't.
I've not done a thing to your old room yet, not even cleaned it. And I must get it done before Blake gets back.
Did I ever tell you what Owen said about the wallpaper in that room?
What?
When he was in that Japanese camp. He used to close his eyes and think of it, he said.
Think of wallpaper?
Knew every inch of the pattern, fixed in his mind.
Made him feel closer to home, I suppose.
It's been a wrench for him leaving here. Even just down the road to his granddad's old house. He didn't say much. Well, he never does. There's a lot goes on in his head that he never tells. And I still fear to push him to tell me what happened to him. What they did to him out there.
How long's he had this?
Couple of weeks.
2 weeks?
Left it here on purpose, I reckon. Hoping I'd break the bad news.
The bad news?
Aye, scholarship to a public school. Your own lad, after what you said about him. A breeding ground for privilege, you called them once, as I remember.
Yeah, but it's an achievement for him even so. There's no reason to keep it from us.
Unless he wants to go, and is a fear to tell you. You'd say nay to him, wouldn't you?
We couldn't afford it.
It's a scholarship.
Ah, yes, but there'd be things we couldn't provide if he was going to stand his ground. Now, look, there's no more money coming into this house than there was during the war. Keir keeps himself in London with naught to spare. Blake's gone off and for all I know might not come back again. Even the bit we had coming in from Owen and Jean staying with us is gone now.
Ah, well, it's a better excuse than principles, I suppose.
It's not an excuse, it's a reality. I know what respect you've got for principles.
I have principles of my own. And I don't expect others to pay the price for them, though.
Well, that's not the reason, Dad. There'd be reason good enough, even so. Look, I'm local secretary to a party that seeks to reform education, to carry on where Butler's reforms left off.
Butler? I'm sick of hearing about Butler. They're all the same, your lot.
He's a bloody Tory.
Oh, well, shame on him, then. You think I'm ignorant, don't you?
Why do you say that?
Well, I am ignorant. I know I am. I did better for you than was done for me. So it's up to you to do better for him. That's how life goes forward, not with ideals. Ideals can blind you to facts. What you believe today can be rubbish tomorrow. But there's them that go on believing it regardless of and clinging on. It's his future we're talking about, not yours.
みんなよく聞け。ここから逃げようとする奴は銃殺をするぞ。それとここでもし働かない奴には罰を与えてやる。いいか。バカ野郎な。ダメ。来ら。
Owen?
バカ野郎。何ですかな。早く。
Dinner's ready. Owen!
Oh, never leave home, love it. Never leave home.
What do we do now?
Wait again, patiently. The track will come if it hasn't broken down. They're always breaking down, that's why we need your services.
Will it come to this actual spot?
Those bags too heavy for you.
What's in them, for God's sake? Or shouldn't I ask?
Something that's probably, literally, worth its weight in gold. Cotton.
Hey?
Strips of cotton. We use it to make shoes out of old tires. You can't beg, borrow, or steal it in Europe now. Come on, relax.
You're more patient than I am.
I've seen 5 years of war in faces of some of the people you'll meet out here. And realise that it won't be wiped away in a lifetime for some. When you've accepted that, you've learned to wait.
You've been doing this since the end of the war?
I was in Prague a few weeks ago. I visited an internment camp for German civilians. They showed me a room where the Germans hung prisoners with wire. After a trial in which all that was said was, "You have not been granted mercy." Very clean room. White towels. A hose to wash down afterwards.
You learned to forgive the hard way, didn't you?
What other way is there? But now, in the room next to this one, there are dying babies. Some of them born to Czech women who are married to Germans. Alone. Dying alone. Nobody even to sit with them. In this world in which we all have to live.
sins of the fathers.
You wonder that I'm still a Catholic?
After all that, yes, I do.
Because of all that. What's your faith?
Don't have any.
You'll find life more comfortable that way.
Isn't it supposed to be the other way around?
Who is this friend you wanted me to get the message to?
We were in the army together, in the beginning of the Second Front. I was the first to be demobbed, and he wrote to me and said he decided to stay on. Odd, really. I wouldn't have thought he was the type.
How can he help?
Some time ago, I asked him to try and find her for me. Every time she wrote to me, it was from a different address. I got all her letters, but all mine were returned, marked gone away. And a month ago, he wrote to me and said he thought he'd found her father.
So you hope?
Yes, I hope.
Don't hope too much. That looks like our truck.
You'll be at the airfield in a couple of hours. I thought you'd made up your mind.
I have. My mind is made up.
I think not.
You know my mind better than I know it, hmm?
Then you want me to tell him that you won't see him?
No. Only that you do not know where I am.
I told him I'd found your father. He'll ask to see him. What shall I tell him then?
Very well. Tell him that I cannot see him, not won't. That I cannot.
Then he'll want to know why.
I ask you to lie for me, and you don't wish to lie. I'm wrong to ask. I will see him then.
I'm such a bad liar, Etta. I'm sorry.
No, of course I understand. Remember the day we met for the first time?
V-Day.
War was over. All that terrible thing was over, we thought. You cooked for us. We sat at the table, you, he and I, like a family. The beginning of our peace, we thought. A good time.
Yes. Yes, a good time.
Ross? Party in the constituency are sounding me out to stand for the seat.
Oh, Daddy, that's marvellous. But the next election's 4 years away.
Labour member's not a well man. These all-night sittings they've been having in the House are taking their toll already. He'll hang on as long as he can, of course. They all will. It's a very intense conversation going on over there.
I've permission to tell you. He's proposing. He showed me the ring.
We've lost him, then. In respect of his faith, I mean.
Well, there's a game. You lose and you win.
I like her enormously. You know I do. She tries so hard to bridge the gap between Mark and myself. Little success, alas, but she tries. There's another gap to be faced too, isn't there? We've made no effort at all to meet her people.
Well, I've tried. It's Mark who stands in the way. It's almost as if he were ashamed of us.
Ross, could you take me home, please?
What's all this about?
What did he die of?
Malnutrition, old age, defeat. The usual erosion speeded up. People are dying too quickly. There aren't the facilities even to give them a decent burial.
Why did you stay on?
To learn.
Learn what?
About survival. It's a fascinating subject. Almost every instinct of life is subordinated to it.
So why didn't you tell me?
I don't know.
I don't know or not saying.
I don't know, honest.
Has it got anything to do with me and my politics?
A bit.
And the rest?
I don't want to leave here. I like it here.
Yeah, well, don't be on the defensive. There's nothing wrong with wanting to stay with your roots.
Unless I got like Owen.
Owen?
He's frightened to go anywhere. He won't even go to Silport.
Oh, who says he won't?
I heard Jean tell Mum.
Yeah, well, that's some of the war did to him.
Will he always be like that?
I don't know, son. Now, as for this other thing. Look, I named you after a well-known Labour man like I did the other lads. But what you are, what you become, is up to you. Now, I've got nothing against this scholarship. It's a good school, they tell me. Well, it should be. It's paid for out of the profits that come from the sweat of honest folk. It's public in that sense, at least.
I think I should go.
If that's what you want.
I think I should.
Well, that's it then.
Can I be making that bed?
I've made it.
Oh, I got the coal in?
No, but I will.
That's a lad. Well?
He wants to go.
I'm glad.
5 years of war with all but one of your lads away and you're a funny woman.
It's cost you more than me.
What principle?
We shall afford the money somehow or other.
I suppose you think like him down there. That God will provide.
God might think what I think, that you've done enough.
No. They're old droppings of these. Wherever that fox is, he's not here now. He'll be round again, though. And I'll be after him.
That farm where Jean worked, the Galways. I didn't realise it was part of the estate.
Belongs to your dad, aye.
Only tenants we have that don't seem beset with problems of one kind or another. We'll have to take a run over one of these days, find out how they manage to cope so well.
I was round home yesterday. Peg come back in a mood. What's up?
I gave her a ring. And she gave it back to me.
What did she do that for?
I told her I'd stop being a Catholic. And she said if I could give up caring as easily as that, I could do the same with her. But I damn well did it for her.
Contrary women are.
She knows I've been fighting it out with myself for over a year now. And she never said anything before. When I finally make the break, this is what happens. It doesn't make sense.
Oh, Peg Haywards, isn't it? Can I see your dad? Jack Bassett, Labour Party agent.
Oh, sorry, I didn't recognise you for a minute. I'll tell him you're here.
Thanks.
Anti-monarchist, anti-Christ.
Hello, Jack. Come into the living room, lad.
Yeah, I can't stop. Look, is it safe for me to bring somebody to see you one night later this week?
Safe?
Well, I don't want too many to know about it. Look, I think we'd better use that back room at the Working Men's Club. We can slip in the back way. I can't let you know just which night it'll be till I've heard from her. Yeah. When she's ready to talk to us, I'll let you know. Eh? I'll call round.
I got your letter a week ago. Why did you say it would be the last one?
It's because I had no letter from you.
They all came back after a time.
If I had known.
You thought I'd stop writing?
Yes, I thought you'd given up hope.
I'm here to prove I didn't.
I thought you had possibly married some nice English girl. To live as other people live. How is it in England?
Oh, everyone complains. As if peace wasn't enough of a prize. Everyone except those that suffered. It's heaven compared to all this. You'll see.
I will see.
I'm gonna get you back there.
It won't be possible. My permit will end. I have to go back to the east.
Over my dead body you will.
You're just like my father was. When my mother was alive, she used to say, "Yes, my love," to all he said. Yes, my love. Early in their life, she knew. He would never accept what she knew was impossible.
He was right.
You know, he lived for a year in this room with nothing. Twice I was allowed to visit him. All on that table is what he had. A cup, a pan, and a knife. And his last candle, burnt out. I have to go to the hospital now for his things. What he wore. In the old days, we would have burnt them. Now his worn-out shoes are things of value.
I'll come with you.
No. I have to do this on my own. I will see you here in the evening. We shall sit and talk as we did in the house where we met. As I will always remember.
Yes?
Roz said you wanted to see me, sir.
Yes, I do. Have you seen Father Ross?
No.
Are you going to see him?
No.
You're just going to leave the flock and take to the hills, are you?
I already have. I realize you're going to find it difficult to accept.
It seems I'm not alone in that respect. After that incident with Peg last night.
Well, that's between us.
Yes, of course it is. No doubt you fully understand how she feels?
No.
Well, that's an honest admission.
I suppose you think you do understand.
I understand completely. But then I'm in a better position to understand. She's been seeing Father Ross for the best part of a year now. She didn't want to become a Catholic simply because of the marriage problem. She wanted to find out if there were better reasons. It seems she was well on her way to finding them when you lost yours.
And Father Ross told you this?
No, she told me herself, less than an hour ago.
I was faced with a choice. I'm a poor Catholic, Father.
No poorer than many of us, perhaps. You're not alone in your doubts and uncertainties. Lord, I believe, help thou mine unbelief.
I think perhaps I'd better go and have a word with her.
She's upstairs waiting for you.
Rosa's not back yet.
She's not coming.
What?
She's on her way back to the east.
Why? I mean, we're ready to meet here.
She thought it better not.
Oh, I see.
If what you think you see is that she had a real choice, you'd better think again.
She asked you to come here.
I said I'd do this for her, providing she'd let me tell you the facts.
She could have told me herself.
Maybe she thought you might persuade her to do what she'd like to be able to do more than anything, I think. Stay with you. Go home with you, marry. I'm afraid one of the facts is she's married already. Married? Yeah, a German in the Russian sector, some sort of Communist Party official, quite high up, I think.
That's what she's gone back to?
More than that. A child. Yours. She didn't know she was pregnant until we'd pulled back. Till the Russians moved in. By the time she discovered her father was in the British zone, it was too late. She married the German to protect the child.
My child?
Well, you weren't there. You were at home. They were living in the dark ages again here in Europe. Well, you might think you know what it was like, but does imagination really qualify you to know what it was like to shuffle into the gas chambers of Dachau? He kept it with him to be sure she returned. Would you have had her do otherwise?
Peeping again, Grandad?
Sunday best on Friday.
I've no time to waste talking.
Didn't leave you much time to get changed with having to wait till he'd gone out.
Yes, well, don't you make it worse or I'll be... All right, clever clogs, you caught me out.
And I know who's waiting for you in that car out there and all.
Oh, put 2 and 2 together and made it 5, did you?
I made it 4. So will our George. Aye, I'm on his side for once. If I'd known what your offer was when you told me you had one last week, I'd have told on you. After a fait accompli, are you? Like that woman in that play on Wireless last week.
Yes, I am.
You'll be suffering for a good cause, I'll give you that.
She'll not be so long now.
I can't see why we've got to make such a damn great mystery out of it.
As soon as she told you herself.
Well, why me? What about the rest of the selection committee?
I've told you. There's personal interest involved.
I can't think what. Anyway, what's the hurry? There may be no need for a by-election. He could make the end of this parliament.
I doubt it. A year I give him at most.
He'd expire tomorrow if he knew the party had lined up a woman to take his place.
But George, look how Edith Summerskill's made her mark.
She's made herself damned unpopular, too.
It's a difficult job. We're rationing worse than it was in the war. She's respected for it. You need a name these days to make a mark. You need somebody that'll get talked about.
Oh, I'm not against women in politics, within reason. Not like I'm against the way they've started using pubs.
You're old-fashioned, George.
Maybe. That's one of the reasons I very rarely use this club. I mean, some of the turns they get in. Women with screeching voices trying to make themselves heard when no one wants to listen. All they want is someone to look at while they sup. Someone flaunting a bit of sex. I despair of my own class sometimes when I see what they rate as culture.
I think that might be her. I'll go and see. George? He'll be back in a minute.
Now rose by wayside growing, said the rosebud, best beware, I can pierce, so have a care, on thy way be going. Rosebud, rosebud, rosebud red, by the wayside growing. Ruthlessly he plucked the rose by the wayside growing. Now too late he understands by his pierced and bleeding hands, and his tears are flowing. Rosebud, rosebud, rosebud red, by the wayside growing.
I wish you'd cut your nails more often. I don't know whether to darn them or leave the holes for your toes to poke through.
The hens are still laying well, look.
Just as well. With Blake coming home tomorrow. Help me feed him up. I'll bet he's as thin as a rake after more than a year in Germany.
Yeah, well, he'll not have expected to live off the fat of the land with others starving all around him.
Puzzles me why he stayed on so long. And the girl he went for left him.
Not of her own accord, so far as his letters are clear. The Russians. State of things out there.
Never tells us much, does he?
He's a funny lad. He pretends to believe that charity begins at home, and then he gives up a year of his life to go and help starving refugees. Now, there's more goes on in his head than he lets on to us.
Like Owen?
Yeah, like Owen. Though Jean says he's settled enough in the town now, apart from the fact that he'll never go out except to come here.
Winter's on the way. Let's hope it's not like the last.
Not forget the start of 1947 in Warwick.
Oh, they'll get mucked up to the eyes.
Used to have to sleep in mud sometimes. When the Japs had us working away from the camp.
That's the first time you've said that word, chaps.
Aye?
We clocked up another first today as well. First time you've not been back to your mother since we moved.
I'll go tomorrow. What's laughing at?
You. You feel safe at your mother's, don't you?
I feel right enough back where we are now. Now I do. He's lost his fear of me, it seems to have. You and all.
Me?
He seemed a bit feared of me in a way when I come back. I don't blame him. 5 years away. A stranger almost must have seen. Is it going now? What you feared?
Yes. Yes, it's gone.
I feared you too.
Me?
Well, out of sight, out of mind, they say, don't they? Some of the lads used to get Dear John letters. Dear John, I'm sorry, but I've met somebody. I used to be glad I didn't get letters sometimes, in case I got one of them. Yeah. Not truly, I didn't. I knew you'd not. Nor easily give me up for dead.
Towards the end, I do.
Easily, I said.
Suppose I had written you one of those letters like you said.
I lived for you out there. You and him. Lived to come back to you, eh?
Come on. We better be getting back. It'll be dark soon.
Aye. Go.
La da da dee da la da 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 da. La da dum. La da la la. Breakfast on there. And call your grandfather, will you? I've called him twice already. I'll bet you anything he complains about it being cold when he does come.
Grandad! Breakfast!
Where's Dad?
Gone for a walk, he said.
A walk? Wild horses wouldn't have dragged him out for a walk at one time. Not got a rival, have you?
Oh, I've got a rival, all right. Whitstanton Labour Party.
When does Blake get here?
He was catching a late train last night, so it could be any time. Aren't there any houses in there?
Oh, no, none that we've not already looked at.
On there. Doesn't Mark's father have anything on his estate?
Mark won't ask.
It looks cold.
What did I tell you? You've got 5 minutes to eat that. I want to get washed up. I've got to get to the shops before Blake gets here. And I shall want your pension money.
Aye, he'll have nought in his pocket, I'll be bound.
But it is voluntary work. He did it for his keep, to help others.
God helps them that helps themselves.
And he's got that car he was doing up to sell, so that'll keep him going for a bit.
A car's not money. He should have sold it before he went off. A right state it'd have been in by now if I'd not looked after it for him. Waste not, want not.
Oh, what would we do without you, Grandad?
I'm a lot more used to this family than I'm given credit for. You think I've outlived me usefulness, don't you? In spite of the fact that I put a roof over your Owen's head.
Your breakfast will freeze.
I don't want it. It's cold any road. I'll show you.
Grandad, waste not, want not.
Mr. Hayward, come in.
Ah, thanks. Bess at the party agent said I ought to keep in touch with you, and I've been trying to catch you for months now.
I'm just home from Germany. I'm afraid it's terribly cold in here.
Not as cold as last winter. Worse this century, they said. January the 1st, we nationalised the mine. 2 months later, we were told there wasn't enough coal to go round.
Come and have some coffee with me.
Thanks.
Rest. I didn't want to be the first to give in. Blimey, somebody out there sailing. Must be as daft as you are. God, I miss that in Germany. You're an odd bod. You reckon? Helping the Krauts in their hour of need. After 5 years fighting their sods. You know why I was there. Yeah, I'm sorry it didn't work out for you. Never mind, come the revolution. Sod your revolution. It's always the proletariat that suffers. They sacrifice themselves for the future. Not at their ass, they don't. I'm not standing here arguing with you. Not in this weather. You realise you could have taken a taxi if you hadn't spent your last quid paying my rail fare. Oh, God, I hate coming home broke. Why did I let you persuade me? I'm 27. Even if you're not 5 years off for the war, Dad's gonna think he'll never get me off his back. Have you got anything in bank? Nah. There's a car the yard was doing up to sell. Should get at least a couple of hundred for it. We're neither of us shining examples, are we, eh?
Roz is out sailing. I think she's getting bored of the life of idleness after working all through the war. She doesn't seem to be able to find anything that interests her. Sugar?
No thanks. So. I don't know what sort of world they expected after the war. I know what I hoped for after we won the election in 1945. My wife wants the old one back again, I don't. But it might be what we've got.
Do you think we'll win this by-election if we have to have one?
Oh, a year ago, I'd have said there wasn't a doubt. I mean, the gains we made in local elections, the legislation that went through the House. This last winter was a setback.
They still want me to stand, I assume?
Oh, yes, you'll be asked to stand. I know you're not well known in the party, but then neither was Cripps. And your local connections will count.
Tory husband, local employer, me standing for Labour.
Does he know?
No. Then we're separated. My life's my own. Do you mind if I call you George?
Well, you'll have to learn to sooner or later, any road, seeing as how we're going to be in-laws.
Has John made no effort to get in touch since Mark and Peg got engaged?
I shall meet him at the wedding, no doubt.
He's a very private man. I doubt if he'll make the first move.
Aye. And I work for him.
He'll want to, perhaps.
What made you want to stand for Labour?
What makes you ask?
Well, it's becoming fashionable among the upper crust, and people's reasons interest me.
They might be the wrong ones, you mean? I'm a socialist on the same logical basis that I'm a Catholic. It appeals to my reason.
I know naught about religion.
New worlds are opening up for all of us. The world of the bomb. living with what was done in the concentration camps. And Aaron Bevan said in Tribune the hope of an organic federation in Europe. I've been all over Europe in the last 2 years. I know what he means and why it's necessary, and yet people have such short memories. Is Blake home yet, by the way?
Sometime today.
He came over on the plane with me, but he was calling to see your other son in London. He's been a godsend to us out there, keeping our old worn-out trucks in the move. Now, there is an enigma of a man.
Right. He went to war as socialist, believing everything I'd taught him, and when he came back, he joined the other side.
Oh, I wish I could declare myself as a candidate now. Is all this secrecy necessary?
Yeah, well, Bass had talked to the wife of the member, and she believes that it might destroy him completely if he knew that we were planning a successor, even though he knows he's a sick man.
Oh, didn't know we had a visitor.
You know Mr. Hayward?
Of course. For heaven's sake, call him George.
I do. And you're dripping all over the carpet.
Ooh, sorry. I'll go and get changed.
Another?
Oh, thanks.
I'm glad she didn't rush into marriage when the men came back, as so many of them did, but I wish you could find some fulfillment in life. It's a man's world, isn't it, George? And I resent it. I think I always have.
You'll have to change it then, won't you?
It's not a trough, you know. I said it's not a trough.
All right, Grandad. I'll take it somewhere where it'll not offend you to see me eating it.
Here, I'm sure Grandad didn't mean it that way.
I'm sorry, Mum.
Go on then, flay me.
What a thing to say.
Eating like a pig.
That's enough.
They cost now, don't manners. You spoiled him. I know why he's come back, you know. Spent up. That's why he's back.
It's none of your business, whatever it is.
Aye, it's none of my business. None of me business.
He's worse than ever he was since Lovett went off to school. No, I must say, Keir was eating like a starved creature.
I don't think he's been getting much to eat. His last job packed up a month ago.
What was it?
Lyon's corner house. Somebody in the kitchen. Washing up, I suspect.
A higher school certificate to wash up.
I had to follow him to 3 addresses before I found him. He flogged his typewriter, and he still owed 2 weeks' back rent.
You paid it?
I had just enough left to pay for our train tickets. We're both a bit of a letdown, aren't we?
Psst.
What is it, Grandad?
You're still mad at me, are you?
Serve you right if I am. You've got a nasty habit of telling the truth.
It's me age.
What's age got to do with it?
Well, you can afford to say what you like when you're my age and speak the truth. I've naught to lose. I found something in my chest.
What's wrong with your chest?
No, naught wrong with my chest. In my room, you go up. 4 gold sovereigns. Now, don't say nay. I've seen put by for Lovett. And Blake had his afore the war, and Owen. I'm in his bad books and all.
Owen?
Aye. I distempered this room for your mother when she went out one day. Owen came in while I went middle of it. It's the first time I've seen him come to life since he left the prisoner of war camp. He raged at me, stamped out, banged door. Nobody saw him for hours.
It's the room they lived in when they got married.
Aye. It'll be sentiment, I suppose. A funny thing is sentiment. Do you know I miss young Lovett?
Yeah, I suppose you do.
Nobody to go fishing in boat with me these days. And I remember, you and me were great pals when you were a little lad.
I'll go fishing with you, Grandad.
I didn't give you 4 gold sovereigns just so you'd go fishing with me.
No, not for 4 gold sovereigns.
I don't worry about you. You'll soon get back on your feet. Still trying to be a writer, is he?
Seems he is. I think his typewriter's been in and out of hock a few times.
What was it like where he lived?
Well,
I don't want tales, I want the truth.
down some steps. They call our semi-basement. Bars in the window, flagged floor, a bed, a table, a chair, gas ring to cook on.
Dirty?
Filthy.
I can't see what's funny about it.
In the circles that Keir moves in, it's the only respectable way to live. Them starving garrets these days, they live in filthy basements.
What are we to do about him?
You feed him up, you send him off again.
What future is there in it? Everybody you talk to thinks it's mad. Why can't he do a proper job, they say?
It's what he wants. A hell of a job persuading him to come back for a while.
You think it's right what he wants?
If he's prepared to live like that for it, it is.
That's what your father says.
He's right.
I had such hopes for him.
Well, you're a fine one to talk. Singing in clubs to help keep Lovett at school. Has Dad got used to the idea yet?
He won't let me go without him. It's like having a bodyguard. As if I'm going to get admirers at my age.
I bet he has to fight them off.
Oh, nonsense you talk. Your girl in Germany. You've lost her.
Since Bevan started to thump the table at the Russians, the barbed wire's gone up. Did Ernst get back to Russia, did you hear?
No, nothing more.
How are they, Jean and I?
I think she accepts now. I think so. Well, I think she does.
Acceptance, resignation, to be resigned. To accept what we used to say in the war. There's no future in it.
Do you, with this girl?
No. It worries you, doesn't it? You'd like to see me married, settled.
That's what mothers want. Then there's Keir. Oh, that war.
You can't go on blaming the war forever, Mum. I'll learn it probably in time. What you said. To accept. The things which make it harder. Maybe it's better not to know, like Owen. He's safe now, you think, in his ignorance?
Only the Galways know about Jean and Ernst. The people at the farm where they worked. He's safe now, in his ignorance.
Hello, Mark.
Father?
Ross tells me you and Peg are looking for somewhere to live.
Oh, we're looking at something she spotted tonight, as a matter of fact.
Well, the stables flat up at the lake house is empty, you know.
I think Peg wants to be nearer this end.
I see. Well, it's just an idea.
Well, thanks, anyway.
Oh, Robert tells me the Galway's barn was on fire last night. They rang him just now, worried about the insurance. Whether it's covered by ours or theirs.
Galway's, yes, that's the farm near us, isn't it? I'll go and see them.
Date for the wedding yet?
Well, January, we thought.
I suppose it's time I met these people. These people? Peg's parents. I was wondering whether to write or call.
I leave it to you.
Well, it's time I got back to the works. We'll do something soon. You know where I am if you want me.
What did that want?
The tenants at the farm near us. Insurance problems. I'll go and see them in the morning.
Oh, I'll go with you then.
Hey, Cole. There's Blake coming in.
Can I go with him if you'll take me?
You better ask it, Dad.
Can I?
Well, if he's a life jacket for you, you can.
Thanks, Dad.
You don't want him to, do you?
How can I say nay to him?
He'll be all right with Blake.
Ah, you fear for him, even so.
Just like your mother when you went off to war.
We don't know, do we, men? What it is for you women.
Not seen Mark by any chance, have you?
Saw him over at the estate office. He's coming over here later on, he said.
Oh, that's all right then. I thought maybe you'd forgotten.
Have to be up a bit earlier in the morning. Gotta go and look at a burned down barn first thing.
Oh, I hope it's not the one I want Mark to look at tonight.
It's over toward his mother's place. Galway's, where you used to work.
Yes, I'm here. I'll get it. We're very formal, aren't we? Ringing the doorbell. These for me? How lovely.
As a matter of fact.
Don't be silly. Of course I know who they're for. Welcome home present.
Something like that.
She's upstairs. How are things at the works?
Finished for the weekend.
Whizzing me up at Lake House, now she's back.
Well, I do understand, you know, that you have to be here when she's at home. She was always quite hopeless at looking after herself.
You know, you've really got to stop thinking about her like that. If you don't, it's all such a nonsense. Us down here, you up there, lonely.
Ross?
In here!
You were going to say something else.
Well, marriages sometimes break up because people find they've married someone else, don't they? They've married the person that is, not the person they want them to be.
You are saying I undervalued her.
Underestimated, perhaps. That's more forgivable, isn't it?
Hello, Mark.
What? Tea ready?
No. What's the rush?
Peg's expecting me.
What it is to be young and in love.
John! You should have told me. And you brought us flowers.
Welcome home.
I'll get myself something.
The impatience of youth. The lad wants his tea.
Well, I'll get it for you. And I'll put these in some water. Come and talk to me in the kitchen.
And stay to tea.
If I'm invited, I will.
Flowers.
They were a very nice thought.
A very corrupt one, if you ask me. Beware of Greeks bearing gifts.
What a suspicious mind you have.
Oh, come off it, Ros. You're not that naive. This is Jesuit upbringing. You know, I've always suspected him of having a hand in Peg's conversion. She's more of a Catholic than I am now.
You resent the fact that she went to Father Ross without telling you, don't you? The fact that she owes her certainty to him.
Well, Father Ross isn't God.
Oh, we're Catholics. We live with it, as well as for it. Those two in there, living unnatural lives apart. Can you wonder there's a compulsion for them both to come together again, to live a natural life that they couldn't otherwise live without sinning?
Mum doesn't want it.
No? What do any of us really know about her? Have you thought that maybe it's you that doesn't want it? Have you thought of that?
Nay, don't come here. I'll meet you there. Aye. And say naught to nobody. Right then.
Don't forget, Blake paid for that phone to be put in.
Aye, he's got naught left now to pay for to be taken out again, has he? It's the first time you've seen me on this any road.
It is, come to think of it. Who do you know on the telephone?
You'll be surprised who I know that's got telephones. I perform my wonders in a most mysterious way.
I don't know. I'm all out of order today. What with Blake and Keir needing to be fed and...
Oh, we won't stay. You've enough on your hands.
You're worried, aren't you, about Owen going to the Galways tomorrow? Well, you needn't. They won't say anything to him about Ernst, so stop worrying.
Oh, I know. It's just that it's there between us. That silence. Even if I am being silent, because it's better for him not to know. I suppose it is better, isn't it?
I've always thought so. Then sometimes I've thought maybe it'd be better to tell. Then I've looked at him and thought, could he bear it?
He couldn't.
That's what you think too, isn't it?
It's what I feel sometimes when I catch him looking at me, or he puts his hand on me, as if he needed to touch me to know I was there, to hold him up.
Tea ready?
ready?
No, it isn't. I don't see why everybody in this house should expect to eat just when they feel like it.
I was only asking. Mark's calling for me in a minute. We're going to look at a house. Oh. I'll go in the pantry and make myself a sandwich or something.
Oh, tea ready?
Would you mind going out and coming in again and saying something else?
I'll beat both of you. Here you go. Right, down you go, young man. Off see your mum. See where to stop. You're back then? For good?
If I can make a living to keep me here. I kept up the rent on the yard while I was away. I've a car there to sell that had all but done up before I went. Should get a couple of hundred for it. Get started again.
After being another Lord Nuffield?
Why not? Somebody's got to get this country back on its feet.
Ah, then they nationalise you.
They'd be welcome if they paid me the compensation they paid the coal owners.
Let's talk about Warringtons being nationalised. Ironworks as well as mines. Different Warringtons that own the mines.
They'll be related somewhere along the line. They've had too much for too long around here, Owen.
Oh, that's what Dad's always said.
Yeah, but if he had his way, it'd only be another lot running us from London, telling us what to do. I had enough of being told what to do in the army.
Oh, seems funny. Think of it all going on while we were away. Them thinking I were dead, me alive still. Now I'm here like I've never been away. Everything's same as it was. After all that. I am all right, you know.
Of course you are.
I am all right. They told me I was.
I didn't know you were a devotee of George Bernard Shaw.
Didn't you?
You must have pretty well everything he's written there. Good pre-war editions. I hate the cheap wartime paper for anything as precious as books.
I had them when I was at Lake House.
I don't remember seeing them.
I thought you might find such radicalism in your bookshelves embarrassing. I'll take that, Ross.
I can't remember her reading that much at all.
I can. She used to read in the garden hut by the lake in summer. And in winter. You remember her sewing room?
I don't think I went there more than once.
It was her reading room, really.
You know, she never talked to me about books.
Maybe because you always had your nose buried in one. I thought Peg was going to catalogue your library, by the way.
We decided it might be better to wait until things are more settled.
We decided? You and she? Because you thought Mark might object, you mean? You've got quite a relationship, you two, haven't you? I'd watch it if I were you.
Mark might object.
He might get the impression you're using Peg to drag him back into the bosom of the family.
Oh, it's nonsense, of course. Been extremely fond of her ever since Mark first brought her here.
I know you have. I'm saying he might get the wrong idea, that's all. Have you told him about the flat at Lake House yet?
He mentioned it today, as a matter of fact.
Cool reception?
Predictably.
Mentioned it to Peg?
Oh, I may have said something about it in passing.
I'd be careful if I were you. You're not very good at that sort of thing.
What sort of thing?
Conniving. Daddy?
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think it's time you met the rest of the family?
Yes, I suppose it is. I met one of Peg's brothers, of course. The one your mother inveigled into her charitable works.
He's home now. Did you ever get that bit for the engine made?
Oh, months ago.
I'll tell him.
Oh, perhaps you'd tell Peg's father I'd like to meet him.
Of course. And I'll also say that you're a bit reserved.
Thought I'd lost all that in the States. You know the taxi drivers there call you Bud?
I'll tell him to call you Bud. I'll have a sail down there in the morning. I love first light at this time of year.
Now, you watch those tides, my girl.
Oh, don't be an old fusspot.
I'm entitled to be. Seems to be the only family I've got. Man and Superman. Allow me to introduce myself. Mendoza, president of the League of the Sierra. I am a brigand. I live by robbing the rich. Tanner, promptly. I am a gentleman. I live by robbing the poor.
Kitchen.
The kitchen.
The lounge? There's a barn up the coast made into a smashing house.
Roof's not too good.
Quaint, though.
Unless you happen to be sitting underneath when it falls in.
Our bedroom.
Ah.
Possibilities, hmm?
There's a cottage belonging to the estate coming empty next month.
Where?
Old Whitstanton.
I don't like old Whitstanton.
Actually, it's not a very good cottage.
Which brings us back to this.
Yes. Yes, well, I see what you mean. I mean, you look at it and see something, and I look at it and I see something else.
What do you see?
Trouble, frankly.
Oh.
Sorry.
Oh, well. I dare say something will turn up within the next 2 or 3 years.
There's a flat.
Where?
The lake house next to Father.
Oh, well, you wouldn't want that, though, would you?
I'll take you to see it tomorrow.
It looks sound.
Ah, well, you look well in this, Jim. You and your missus.
We've not have to live past 70 if we're to get it. It's money that we're living on after that that's got to buy it.
You'll not live past 70, you.
You put that in guarantee, will you? We'd only just retired when war started. We've never been anywhere much. We've saved every penny we could to this day.
Aye?
Aye, thrift. I wouldn't do it again. Makes you feel somehow that life's let you down. And I never achieved that ambition of mine, neither. The one I had when I was a little lad.
What was that?
I wanted to be a cowboy. I'll call it Trigger.
Trigger?
£100, did you say?
Aye. Done. And they think I've outlived my usefulness.
I can see you were in trouble from the house. It's always sensible to beat round here when you've problems.
Who said I had problems?
Tide's on the turn.
No. I'm beaching because I was coming here. You don't remember me, do you? I won't embarrass you by playing guessing games. I'm Mark's sister.
Ah, of course.
You said that very convincingly.
We met at your father's house when I was up there mending the lawn.
Now,
I've been abroad. I only got back yesterday.
half of you still there?
Yeah, half of me.
Daddy's got the part you wanted made for the engine. Been waiting till you got back. Wonder when you could do it.
Ah, you better come up to the house.
He's bringing her in the house. I'm going upstairs. I'm not fit to be seen. Tell him to take her in the front room. Don't let him bring her in here.
We've been in here lots of times before.
Not at 10 o'clock on a Sunday morning. Just look at the place. I'm going.
She takes us as she finds us, you silly woman.
What's the rush?
Blake's bringing Ross Warrington in. Your mother thinks she's not fit to be seen, so she's gone upstairs to put her tiara on.
about this mess then, eh? Let's have a look. Beams, charted chicory. Bad for stone afire. We can see in a leaf. If I had a mind to break through a wall any time, could fetch the whole lot down.
What started it?
Naught but carelessness. Useless is that chap I have working for me now. Not a patch on Ukrainian I had here during the war. And he was supposed to be a prisoner of war.
Prisoner?
Aye. I wanted to wed a lass that worked here then. But her husband came home from the Japs that she thought were dead.
Grandad! Seen Grandad?
I'm here.
You wanted me, Grandad?
Aye, I do. You did yon job for your keep, your mother tells me.
Yeah, something like that.
Ah, so you'll be a bit short then?
A bit.
Till you've sold yon car?
Yeah, there's always that.
Well, I've done it for you. I've sold it for you. Here you are. Here, I've got the money here. £100.
100?
Aye. I've done well for you, haven't I?
It was worth a couple of hundred, Grandad. It's going to cost me more than 100 to get another one and start again.
What?
There's work at the mine.
You're an educated lad.
Oh, shame in labour, is there?
No, but the world needs brains as well. Aspire to nothing better than to toil like animals, do we?
Aspirations are about all I have got. I feed on aspirations.
But this writing of yours, is there any future in it?
I don't know. You think I'm wasting my time, don't you?
No, I don't think that. I can do nothing to help you, that's what I think.
Well, a stretch of honest toil might give me something to write about.
Yeah, well, your mother will find it very hard to accept you working at the iron mine. Now, women of her generation know more about the dirt of labour than the dignity. It's them that have the washing to do. If you could find some way of making her see it as a means to a better end.
You see, that's what education is to me, Mother. It's a means, it's not an end in itself.
Come on, you can't expect her to share your political views. I'm not even sure she shares mine. I've never known for certain which way she's voted.
I love her, but she makes me despair.
But life's a mix, Kia. Your mother was a cut above me when I married her, and it's even more of a mix today. Look at our peg. It's been fixed for me to meet Warrington tonight. The man that employs me, that represents everything I've fought against all my working life. Oh, what else can I do? What in God's name am I going to say to him?
I know what I'd say to him.
With your sister's happiness in the balance? She's not a strong girl, you know.
Is she any worse?
No, but you know what rheumatic fever did to her heart, and it'll not go away. She's no worse as far as I know, but she'll never get any better either. What more can anybody offer her in life than life itself?
Weren't you invited too?
Not this time round. Men only this time.
You mean you get inspected later?
I wish you wouldn't.
Wouldn't what?
Make life a battleground.
I don't make life a battleground, it just is.
As soon as she married somebody her own kind. More than you, I dare say. But I like young Mark, so I'll live with the other.
That's the spirit.
What is?
You looking down on 'em.
I look down on nobody, Keir. It's a difference, that's all.
Oh, aye. It's certainly a difference, all right.
Well, it's time I did some practice. I've got a concert at Silport Labour Club next week.
Paying to get Lovett through school.
I enjoy it. Anyway, nothing comes free. There'll be the wedding before long. God knows where the money for that's coming from.
Well, I'll not be a burden on you much longer. I'll be working soon.
So your father was telling me.
Oh, he even had to take that on himself. I've disappointed you, haven't I?
You're as you are. More like your father than anybody. Trying to take all the aches and pains of life on yourself. And where's that washing?
Upstairs. You're not going to like it.
I'll have it to do whether I like it or not. And when you've fetched it, go and cheer your grandad up. You'd think it was him was £100 down instead of Blake. There's another that thinks he can put the world to rights. What a family.
Prisoner? Aye. I wanted to wed her last we had working here then. But her husband came home from the Japs that she thought were dead.
Pick us up about 9:30.
9:30.
I've asked Ross to pick us up in a couple of hours. All right with you?
Yes, I've got nothing else on tonight. Oh, so. I got your pint. Is that all right?
Yes, yes. Well, to our respective children, I think, don't you, George? I hope you don't mind me bringing you this far out. I haven't been down this part of the world for years.
No, I'm glad you did. As a matter of fact, no one knows me around here.
Oh. No, George?
No.
They'll be at your grand's. We'd better get on there.
You take too many chances as it is.
Oh, the boat's a two-hander, really. I can never find a crew.
You found one.
I shall hold you to that. You may live to regret it. I'm told I'm unbearably bossy when I sail.
That makes two of us, then.
I hope those two at the pub are getting on all right. I'm picking them up in an hour or so. I'll tell Daddy you fixed his engine.
I'll send him a bill.
Mummy said you were the one who kept our trucks on the road in Germany, helping with the DPs.
I'm not a charitable institution. I have personal reasons for going.
Yes, I know. I hope you don't mind that she told me. I think she thought it might help me.
You?
Oh, one of those abortive wartime affairs, you know. They can't last forever, these hangovers from the war. Except that they're all tangled up with the whole damn thing. And you wonder, will we ever be free of it?
Prisoner? Aye. Wanted to wed a lass we had working here then. But her husband came back from the Japs.
Try one of these, dear, she said. They tickle your hormones. American women, my God.
I've never had much to do with the Yanks. We had some here in the town before the invasion, of course.
Followed by an increase in the population, no doubt.
Yeah, there were one or two casualties.
Of course, they're completely dominated by their women at home, though. Remind me of my father. Did you ever hear the story when he found a core maker running a book in the works? And he said to the man, you go and fetch your cards. And the man said...
The man said, I'm not running today. You fetch him your bloody self.
You know that one. Good. Stand me a pint of this excellent bitter.
I've not done this lot yet.
No, we haven't, have we? I should get out more. I suppose you know I'm separated from my wife.
Yeah, I gathered so.
Well, it's hell living on your own. Well, George, we should do this more often. This really is first-class stuff.
Did you hear that other story about your father and the boiler man?
Owen hasn't come home.
He didn't come home for his dinner, and I thought maybe he'd had to stay on at work, but he hasn't been back for his tea either.
I went out for a minute, only down the road. I left the door open.
He might be out in the shed with Grandad. Well, it's a light on when I came past. I'll go and see.
Can I come with you?
I'll go and get me washing.
You know, there was something I thought this morning after he'd gone out. The Galways might not know him. Might not know who he is.
What difference?
It was like that when the tide came in. That little bit of time. Difference between living and dying.
Jean! How long have you been here?
Nobody here when I came.
What's wrong, old lad?
Grandad changed the wallpaper.
Yeah, he did.
When I was dead, life went on. When I was dead.
Here?
It's all right, love. He's up here.
Life goes on, doesn't it?
Where were you?
Cole.
It hurts me, Dad.
You know, don't you?
Aye, I know.
Jean's arm hasn't stopped her from laughing.
Mark's probably describing some of our relatives. You seen my father lately?
Yes, Mark took me up to the house a couple of weeks back when we had to talk about the wedding. Grand house.
You and Mrs. Hayward don't mind the wedding being there?
Part of us does, yes, but the part that wants the best for Peg accepts it.
I'm glad you and Daddy get on.
Yeah, we're still on opposite sides of the fence, you know.
Does it matter?
That's a question that could only come from your side. No. I'll manage the rest myself. You stay here where it's warm.
Trotted down the street holding her hands.
Yes.
What a big lad he's grown up to be, they say. Patting me on the head.
Oh. And who's going to be your best man, Mark? Blake.
Very appropriate choice.
Balloonhead, isn't he?
Well, that's the lot, anyway.
There's more of you than us.
It's quality that counts.
I'm sure your relatives are all very nice.
Nice.
What does that mean?
It means it's a snob in reverse.
Oh, come on.
Coming with you.
All right.
I said I go sailing up there at Ross.
What, in this weather?
This is when the real sailors sail.
Oh, Lord, don't you fancy yourself?
Right, let's clear this lot. He sold that car. Bought another to work on.
He'll do well, Blake. He'll make a go of it.
I wondered when you'd have something to say for yourself.
I can remember thinking last winter, if we can get through this, everything will get back to normal. And it has. War seems years away already. In spite of everything being short still.
You'll not know what to do yourself. You don't have to queue up no more.
Oh, yes, I will. Well, Keir will be home soon. I better get his dinner.
I'll help you.
2 more weddings to go. That's what your mother's thinking. Then you'll all be settled. They dote on weddings, do women? Aye, Keir and Blake. They'll stop single if they know what's good for them.
Here comes the bride, 40 inches wide. Here comes the groom with a face like a moon.
Why don't you come on up, say hello?
All 5 of us in yon. I like the man well enough. I never feel right up there. You've taken to it like a duck to water, haven't you?
Officer's mess gave me a taste for it. It's only skin deep.
Hey, Blake! You coming? Hurry up!
There'll be another turning Catholic soon, happen.
You reckon?
Hey, you've never properly told us about the German girl.
It's all behind me now. I think they want you.
Come on, Blake! Oh, stop it!
They like you to know they're about, don't they, the Warrington clan?
Yeah, Mark isn't like that. He's in high spirits, that's all. So he should be, marrying your sister.
Blake looks set for a merger too. What price the ties of flesh and blood, eh?
Flesh and blood?
Your grandson in Germany, I mean. Out of sight, out of mind, I suppose.
grandson in Germany.
Well, you knew, didn't you?
You know damn well I didn't.
Herr Brandt?
Ja, ich bin Brandt. Herr Warringtons. You've waited. I'm sorry. I have to be careful.
Yes, of course.
Sometimes I give order that someone who worked for me should be followed. Above me, there are others who also give orders, I think. My wife is all the time fearing. Do you understand?
How is Herta?
She's well. We are all well in the Russian zone. The state provides. How is it in England?
They fear another winter like the last one. The lights going out. Men working in their offices by candlelight, planning a new Jerusalem. Thank you.
Ein Kaffee, 2 Schnapps, bitte.
Does Herta know you're seeing her?
No. I get your name from a letter you write to her. I steal it from where she hides it.
I see.
Yes. Perhaps. Life is different for Germans, in the East or in West. All over, German people steal to survive.
I'm not making a judgment.
Judgment? Judgment? Who can judge? It would be good to believe in God if one could.
Let him who is without fault cast the first stone.
Is what one of your English writers say?
Christ said it, as far as I can remember. Mind you, I haven't had much to do with him since I left school. Herta would tell you. We had a few friendly arguments about religion in the house where we first met, where Blake and I were billeted.
This Blake, who is your friend?
We served in the army together during the war.
The one who's the father of her child. I read other letters, too. Tell me about this man.
You make me feel so spring is sprung. And every time I see you I'm such a happy individual. The moment that you speak, I wanna go play hide and seek. I wanna go and bounce the moon just
This is the last letter I shall write to you. Although in my head and in my heart, and in our child, I feel married to you.
Running across the meadow.
We're one of the fortunate few round here, you know. We do have a bathroom.
There was somebody in it when I went up. I'll eat mucky if you like.
Eat mucky? What a thing for a gentleman to say.
Gentlemen? I don't think she's got the message. I think the wedding's gone to her head.
That job getting you down?
Am I not up to it? Is that what you mean?
You were brought up to study, not labour with your hands.
I wish to God it had been the other way around.
I thought you thought the working man was badly done to.
I don't draw a line between working with your head and working with your hands. Not in that way, I don't.
Oh, well, what suits one doesn't suit another. Owen likes his job. Working on his own, mostly.
Is that what he says?
Well, suits him, he says.
How is it now between you and Owen?
He says he understands. That we thought him dead, that life goes on. I only wish we'd told him, though. Instead of him finding out like that.
You didn't hear what happened? 2.
Ernst? No.
Another one thought dead.
I don't think about it. Like Owen says, life goes on.
Yep, life goes on. How's my dinner going on?
It'll not be warm through. You'll have to wait another few minutes.
I'll wait in the other room.
I'll shout you when it's ready.
Eat mucky.
Owen? You all right?
Where's Cole?
I don't know. Has he vanished again?
We came out with the wedding cards.
What do you think to this wedding?
Well, I like young Mark. I work with him.
Nah, Peg turning Catholic. Not that there's anything to be said for any of the other lot.
Don't you believe in God?
Created by man in his own image. He's a sort of Superman to help us out when things go wrong.
Your mum's seen to it. Come on, time we were off.
Where's Cole?
On the beach, where he always is.
There's no harm in it.
Ta-ra.
See you, love.
Ta-ra, Q.
Ta-ra, George.
Oh, off home, mate.
Yeah.
See you, Dad.
Hey, don't take my paper with you.
Oh, sorry.
I'm always last to get to read it as it is.
Jim says he's taking it all right knowing about her and the Ukrainian. What do you think?
Why should I think any different to her?
It's the change in him I can't get used to. From how he was before the war.
There's a book in the library written by a bloke who was a prisoner of the Japs, same as Owen was. I read a quarter way through and took it back. I couldn't bear to read on. The wonder is that he's still alive, not that he's changed. But you haven't changed much, have you?
Me?
Dropping bricks on people. Telling me of a grandson in Germany, is it true?
Well, you don't think I'd invent a thing like that, do you?
I used to before war, any damn thing to cause a stir.
Well, you'll have to ask Blake if you don't believe me.
Yeah, well, I'll have to ask him now you've brought it up, won't I? It's my duty to ask him.
Colin, will you come down? Now, Colin, I've called you. Now, come here. Get down. You heard me calling for you, didn't you? What do you think you're doing up there?
Oh, I've seen a lot.
How many times have I told you it's dangerous round here? And when you hear me calling you, you come when you're called.
Jean, no! No more.
God's sake, Owen, it's dangerous round here. Why can't you understand that it's no good just telling him? Sometimes he just needs a wallop.
You do realise I'll have to be going by the time we get in.
There's always the moon.
I'll have to see what I'm doing.
You just don't like my boat. Prefer that old wreck of yours.
Wreck? How dare you? That's a bloody good boat.
Oh, well, I'm happy enough sitting here.
Are you? Thinking of sailing, eh?
Only thinking.
Blake. Blake hasn't said anything, but I know she'd love you to go and look at the flat.
Ah, right, okay.
Back in a minute. Roberts tells me there's some storm damage to the windows upstairs.
I don't think George is completely happy about the wedding being here.
He bowed to practicalities, you mean?
I don't see why we have to have all those damn relatives of ours. Half of them aren't speaking to each other anyway.
Well, I don't want people to think we're running away.
From what, for heaven's sake?
From the wholehearted approval of the marriage of my son to the daughter of one of my wages clerks.
But you do approve.
I want to be seen to approve.
By the family or by Mummy?
She's in Germany again, isn't she?
Oh, don't worry, she'll be back for the wedding.
What's she going to do with her life when there aren't any refugees to work for?
Will the day ever come?
She seems oddly radical these days. Took me to task the last time I saw her over some criticism I made of Attlee. Came back at me with some very sharp political comment.
Why shouldn't she be radical? I'm not, but it's a free country.
Well, she certainly wasn't before the war.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
No, I know what you're going to say. I shouldn't think of her as she was before the war. I suppose she got these ideas from that fellow?
She once said he was involved in politics. One of the rare occasions he's been mentioned. I suppose that's how she met Morrison and that lot.
Herbert Morrison, the Labour man?
Very same.
Well, I hope to God she doesn't throw it around too much at the wedding. Especially if your Uncle Hugh's there. I can remember him telling me of the first day he was in the House after Labour came to power. How they sang the red flag. The Tories sat there appalled, thinking the revolution had come.
Thank God you find it amusing.
Well, isn't it? Isn't it exactly what we needed to shake us out of our damned awful complacency?
Probably.
This friendship between you and Peg's brother.
That's exactly what it is. A friendship.
Oh.
Disappointed? Like to take the Haywards over, would you?
I like them enormously as a family.
But they're not Catholics, is that it?
Well, he doesn't strike me as the type who'll come over to us as Peg did.
I don't suppose he is. Oh, stop worrying about me, will you? Been through all that before. Well, something similar. I'm not likely to want to go through it all again, am I?
When's the furniture coming?
When I finish choosing it. It's difficult. There's just so much to choose from.
Been going around the house with him, have you?
Oh, Mark, don't. Don't be sour. I like him. That should be good.
You like him because he spoils you to get at me.
He spoils me to please you.
To ingratiate himself.
That's not a nice thing to say.
I can see his study window from here. Anyway, I don't want to think about him. I'll pretend we're a million miles away.
You did it for me, didn't you?
Hmm?
Accepted this flat.
Yes, of course I did.
And it wasn't easy, was it?
No, it damn well wasn't.
Then I owe it to you, not to him. It was no real effort for him. So thank you. I love it. And we're going to be happy here, misery guts.
I'll come back.
Oh, don't be stupid, Balloonhead.
It's too much for him, isn't it?
What?
Labouring at the ironworks.
Means to an end, to earn his living, while he feels his way towards what it is he really wants.
Too right. That's not a real job.
It's what he wants. It's in his head. He won't be moved from it.
A family of donkeys, that's what we bred.
We're all late starters because of the war. That's the pity of it. Has Blake told you anything about this woman he met in Germany?
Precious little. That's another thing they are, secretive.
Secretive donkeys, eh?
Donkey's ears and all.
How can you kip with a racket like that going on? Grandad!
You're obviously a man of some consequence in the Eastern Zone. Why should you be afraid?
You have no such fears?
I'm a nobody politically.
In my world, it is the nobody who will survive. The Communist and the Socialist parties were united in our zone last year. The Soviets wished it so. Dissidents were purged. I believe with Marx that the state should wither away at each day it grows in power. Starling grows.
Is it all you wanted from me? To know about Blake?
Just a man curious to know the father of his wife's child, you think?
If there's anything I can do.
You will see me again?
Yes, if you want me to.
In some weeks I will come again. When I come again, I bring with me my wife. Can you take her to England?
Just like a couple of tots.
Not a very good idea.
Mother. What are you doing here?
I've come for your wedding tomorrow.
I mean, why aren't you over at Whitstanton at the house?
Well, I called to see your father. Might have been a better idea if you'd stayed at the house instead of holding your stag party here.
Oh. Well, Father said he'd send someone over to clean up.
You spending the night here?
I don't feel fit to drive, actually. But since you're here, I'll come home with you, I think. What do you think to the place? It's rather grand, eh? Father said Peg could have anything she wanted from the house.
Oh, that was good of him.
He likes to be liked, especially by Peg. He's charmed her. She thinks he's a remarkably nice man.
She's right, he is a remarkably nice man.
Not nice enough to keep his wife on the straight and narrow.
You have obviously and inevitably had too much to drink, so I forget you said that.
I'm sorry. I wasn't in any way hitting at you.
I knew who you were hitting at, and you're wrong.
Well, what have you two been doing over there? Talking over old times? Forgetting the bad times, remembering the good?
There were times we lived through, that's all. And this is a time when somebody we brought into the world, whose existence we're responsible for, begins a life of his own.
I began that a long time ago, at school, at Lights Out.
Ah, so that's the crux of the complaint, is it? That we sent you away to school?
I didn't know what a family was until I met the Haywards. It wasn't you, it was him.
It was both of us. It was what we were brought up to believe. I believed it then too, just as I believed the earth was round. But possibly flat. Nobody could ever convince your grandfather that it was round, and I loved and respected him. I just don't happen to believe in such schools any longer.
He does.
Does he? I don't know whether he does or doesn't. But isn't it the circumstance of his belief at the time the alleged sin was committed that counts?
You're a real Catholic, aren't you?
How I wish I was.
I'm only a Catholic because of Peg now.
How remarkably young you are for somebody who's seen so many die in a war. War doesn't mature us even, does it?
I think I'd like to go home now.
Come on then, slow coach. I thought you said you could run. I thought you could run. I'm the old witch of the hill, and I've lost me broomstick. Now I've got you. Now I've got you. Right, that's it. Come on, let's go back. Oh, come on, Cole. No, Cole, you get all mucked up. Call, your mum will be mad. We gotta be at the church in a minute. Call!
Yes, thank you. Well, everything seems to be all right here.
I suppose we had to have it here.
Well, your future father-in-law seemed to understand, accept my reasons. He did have the option, you know. You don't imagine I attempted to dragoon him into it? I think what probably persuaded him was the fact that Peg wanted it too.
She said so?
What a lovely place for a wedding, she said. Anyone who stands so bravely at the edge of life as she does deserves whatever can be given her.
I don't need you to tell me something like that, Father.
I wasn't telling you so much as reminding myself. I'm glad you're marrying Peg. I know so little of the people who work for me. America opened my eyes to a certain extent, made me aware of how class-ridden a society we are. I don't think the war's made all that difference. And I don't think this government will survive clearing up the mess. But perhaps we're building a small bridge today that might help in the future.
Oh, it's very nice. I think I'd better go and check that I've still got the ring.
10 minutes.
Yes, I know.
I'm beginning to feel a failure in this post-war world, Beth.
Mark?
We don't even begin to communicate.
He's very young, in many ways.
Yet you see men die.
I told him last night, war doesn't even mature people.
I just made him rather a pompous speech about building bridges to help in the future. You're a very busy woman these days.
Yes, I suppose I am.
Well, what you're doing, you enjoy it? It's what you want?
It'll do for now.
And when it's over?
I shall do something else.
I'm so lonely in this damned house, Beth. I was happy here before the war.
Were you? I suppose I was too, in a way. I would like to see round the ironworks sometime.
The works?
In all the years we were married, I made one visit to the offices. Is a woman supposed not to be interested in her husband's work?
Well, no. Well, of course not.
You won't mind my coming, then?
Well, of course I won't mind you coming. I'd be delighted.
I do have a reason. It's all a bit mixed up just now, but we'll talk later.
Come on, you two. Don't leave it till the last minute.
I'll see you at the car.
You're looking pleased with yourself.
Am I? Don't lose sight of that dream you have.
Dream?
Of us all being a family again. On a day like this, I could begin to believe in miracles again.
All right?
You haven't said if you like it yet.
You'd look good in a sack.
Most of it's made from your coupons, you know.
I thought it looked familiar.
Mum says, can you come and have a word with Grandad? He's decided he's not going.
Not going?
Blake and Kid put him in a white shirt and it's got ripped all down the back.
Get out of the way. Is he there? George, will you come and speak to your father?
He'll be right enough as long as he keeps his jacket
Just
on.
like your mother to send someone, then come herself.
Oh, you look lovely, kid. Be off in a minute, eh?
I can remember your wedding.
Can you?
I've not long been out of hospital. When I had rheumatic fever that left me with this silly heart.
It's a grand art. Lasts your lifetime. Hey, come on, what have I said?
It's not you.
I should have more sense making jokes at a time like this.
It's all right. I'm all right.
Sure? Here. Use my towel.
Oh, Owen. You're back. Just like you were before the war. Always laughing, making jokes. Dear Owen. Dear.
Look at me, Auntie.
What's happened to your face?
Oh, don't fuss, Mum, please.
It's like the Colorado Desert.
You've never seen the Colorado Desert. Come on, off you go. The car's waiting. We'll get her straightened out.
I can't leave her like that.
You've no option. You'll hold up the entire works if you don't get off.
God bless you.
Come on, Mum.
I shall hold you responsible.
I'm responsible for the entire Colorado Desert. What was all that about?
Oh, just me and the day. I haven't hurt you, have I? Marrying a Warrington.
Only one thing in your life could hurt me. That you shouldn't be happy.
I am. No, I am.
Hey, come on. Don't you start irrigating that desert again or you'll get me shot.
Quod ergo Deus conjunctit homo non separet.
Las
tibi Christe.
Lord, bless this ring, which we are blessing in thy name, to the end that she who is to wear it may be wholly faithful to her husband, so she may abide in thy peace and in accordance with thy will, living always in love, given and returned, through Christ our Lord.
Amen.
In the name of the Father,
In the name of the Father,
and of the Son,
and of the Son,
and of the Holy Ghost,
and of the Holy Ghost.
Amen.
Amen.
O God, perfect what thou hast wrought among us.
From thy holy temple in Jerusalem.
Lord, have mercy.
Lord, have mercy.
Christ, have mercy.
Christ, have mercy.
Lord, have mercy.
Lord, have mercy.
Our Father,
Perhaps you are still writing to me, but your letters do not reach me, so I do not know. This is the last letter I shall write to you. Although in my head and in my heart and in our child we are married. I'm not in love with my husband, but I do care for him. However, it is you to whom I feel married. I long for us to be together. I cannot live from words on paper, and so I shall not write again. We must live as we can, as we can.
ut qui te auctore jucunta, te exulianti serventa, per Christum Dominum nostrum.
Oh, Lee.
Attention, please. Please be upstanding. A toast. The bride and groom.
Bride and groom.
Very best.
Good luck with it.
I think this is going to my head.
That were a grand spread, that one.
Wherever did they get the coupons from?
Points are for poor people, Mum.
Oh, here we go.
Don't you dare. Not even a cross word. We're being watched. What are you laughing at?
You.
What a family.
Hey, where's Uncle Ted?
They stuck him over there in a corner.
I hope he doesn't get his Jew's harp out. He usually does about now.
Please clear the table.
No, stop.
Oh, no, darling, you must stay where you are.
Oh, he's all right. Go on, off you pop.
Thanks.
It's another chapter closed, isn't it?
I know you love him, and I know you want him to love you. In the long run, you're making a run for your own back, love.
Well, he's all right.
Penny for them. You were miles away. I think I'm going outside. I'm getting claustrophobia in here.
Come with you.
Pass auf, das Fräulein auf.
Last night, was there anybody?
I couldn't tell. People came and went.
I imagine, do you think?
No.
When we spoke on the telephone last time, you said there was someone who would get my wife to England.
Yes.
Could we meet here in 1 hour?
2. 2 would be easier. She's here?
She will be here at the time.
And the boy stays with you?
There is no other way. Only if the boy stays will we trust her to cross the border.
And you?
She will come alone, so I'm not involved.
She'll leave the boy.
There is no other way.
To be brought up in what kind of world?
The world they provide for us. They will give us what they wish us to have and take from us what they wish, as they emptied our factories of the machinery by which we would live.
The spoils of war.
Children also, it seems, are the spoils of war.
Yes, and we know where that started, don't we? Their bones were used to make fertilizer in the concentration camps.
You wish me to feel guilt?
No, I'm not running a confessional. I'm not a priest.
I was against the Nazis.
Yes. That's what they're all saying now, isn't it? You were against the Nazis and for the Russians. And now you're against the Russians.
You English. What do you know? I do this for her, you know. She thought I would not let her go. She cares little for me, I think.
Oh, nor for the boy, it seems. Yes, we English, we do not know. I wrote to Blake. After you came the last time, I told him there was a possibility we could get her out. I heard from him last week.
What has he said?
That if she can't bring the boy too, she should stay. That the boy will need her.
He will not have her then without the boy?
Oh, yes. He'll have her. You see, living in England, he doesn't know that there are sometimes circumstances not easy for him to understand.
I told her that after a time, will come the boy.
Yes. How much time?
Who knows? Who knows how much time?
He sent this letter.
I will give it to her.
I'll be here in 2 hours' time.
All the damned wolves aren't in Germany. Not damn well extinct over here, is it, have you believe? Then go to a place called Loosehow Rig if you ever get the chance. The word means loop, you know, French or something. No wolves in France, I shouldn't think. The place is too damned civilized.
Excuse me, please.
Oh, but of course, madam. Oh, do come beating for me sometime, Hayward, if Warrington can spare you. I'll let you know when.
Paul's climbing the trees now. His clothes are ruined.
Oh, he'll be all right.
And I think he's stuck. He can't get down. He's stuck. He can't get down.
Yes. Beth Warrington.
Tom Poster.
Come and talk to me, damn you.
I was looking for you.
So you say now, I've collared you. He's a brave man, your husband, inviting one of Attlee's majority to his son's wedding, even if I am only an insignificant backbencher. Place is crawling with Tories.
Oh, I wouldn't call you insignificant.
Wouldn't you? I'm not damn much use in this thing, am I? Anyway, I shall be out of it next week.
You will?
Disappointed?
Disappointed? I'm delighted, of course. What an odd thing to say.
But then there's something I know that you don't know that I know. You come with me.
Come! Stop where you are, don't move. Oh, come on. Just swing down.
It's not my fault. They were the ones who told me to do it.
Never mind them. Go on, clear off. Now, come on. Put your foot down. Come on, here.
No, I can't.
Come on, Col, you're safe. I'll catch you. That's right. Now your other one. Come on. Right, now I've got you. Come on, down you come. That's it.
Thanks, Dad.
Oh, Col, look at your clothes. You've got 2 buttons off. Look at you. Look! Look at it! Look! 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 I said look! Look at it!
早くな早く何するのみんなよく聞けここから逃げようとする奴はするぞダメ
ダメだダメだダメだダメGo! Go! Go! Go!
It was you who nominated me to take your place, wasn't it?
Whatever gave you that idea?
My woman's intuition. And I've seen you watching me out of the corner of your eye when the German committee meet.
I'm not quite ready to pack in yet, you know.
I should hope you're not.
Getting excited, though, aren't you?
I can wait.
Well, that was holding them all together. The cabinet, diversity of talents. My God, last winter was a setback, though. Poor Manny Shinwell.
Painting insults on his walls.
You know, people expect Jerusalem on a platter. They won't accept that it has to be worked for patiently. Fellow travellers are worse than the Tories. Do you read Orwell's correspondence in Tribune about Marxist infiltration?
Ziliarchus.
How well do you know George Haywards?
Very well. Now we're related, of course. Nothing much more I can do to get myself better known in the constituency until it's all made official. I've asked John to let me look round the ironworks, and I'll see Uncle Hugh about the mine.
John doesn't know, does he, that you're likely to stand for the constituency?
I can't tell him, can I?
Well, it's difficult.
Yes, it is.
And not just John. The Warringtons generally. Small atomic bomb.
Yes.
No chance of you two getting together again, I suppose.
Ross would like it.
What would you like?
I honestly don't know. I get lonely. But my private life, what there is of it, he'd resent that, wouldn't he?
No, I don't know him all that well. What I know, I like. And you're Catholics. What sort of a life would you have apart?
Guilt-ridden if you strayed from the straight and narrow.
Like you were with Peter Fraser. Oh, yes, I knew. All due respect to him now he's dead. He only opened a door anybody could have opened. Tom. Oh, George! We're an island amongst this lot, you and I, an island. Aliens.
We may as well go now, I think.
Right, back to Mossbros.
I don't know why. I suddenly couldn't see them go.
The sight of so much happiness?
I don't despise happiness. My God, I don't.
That wasn't what I was saying. Love's an illusion. I keep telling myself.
Even an illusion's a reality for the one who has it.
More Catholic double talk?
Well, at least I've got that. What keeps you afloat?
A refusal to sink. You should try. Could have your Sundays free.
I don't need temptation. I only hang on because God's let me go.
Lost sheep?
Oh, yes, I'm lost, all right. Lost in a war.
Both of us, then. You know what my mother's always saying? A trouble shared is a trouble halved.
Is it?
Might be worth finding out. Nothing could be worse than this purgatory. See? Using your words already.
We've nothing in common. Sailing.
Keeping afloat.
Calendula fishing.
It's a lovely house.
Nice lad.
All we could have dreamed of for her.
Oh, some socialist you.
Not the living world as it is.
She shouldn't have children. Not with her heart.
No.
They don't take care, Catholics, do they?
Well, they have their own way, I think.
Child comes before mother at birth. Well, so they say.
There's naught we can do about it.
Not that we wanted to.
Can't find Colin.
Owen's been hitting them really hard.
Apparently, according to some kids.
No, you stay here. You go. Jean, you stay with your mother.
This is a story of the Cumbrian coast, where the harsh realities of industry are set between Atlantic beaches and the rolling fells. A story of two families, the Warringtons, Catholic, owners of the ironworks, and the Haywards, dependent on the works for a living. But at the end of World War II, class differences are breaking down. Mark Warrington and Blake Hayward meet in Germany. The public schoolboy is the sergeant, the worker's son the officer. Blake falls in love with a German girl, Herta. Later he learns that she's borne him a son, but married an East German. Back in England, Mark Warrington meets Peg Hayward at the victory celebrations. Other members of the Hayward family return from the war. Keir, the aspiring writer with Marxist leanings. Owen, from a Japanese POW camp, haunted by his experience and a stranger to his own son. The Haywards' family life offer Mark something he never knew in his own childhood. Across the barriers of class and religion, Mark and Peg fall in love. John Warrington is separated from his wife Beth, who found a new life and new political views through war work in Germany. Their daughter Ros, in spite of the strictness of her religion, now finds herself attracted by Blake. Mark and Peg get married, but a heart weakness means she shouldn't have children, and her new religion, Catholicism, forbids contraception. During the reception, Owen, who was at last beginning to win his son's confidence, was overcome by his memories of the war and thrashed the child for a minor offence. In despair of the future, he hanged himself.
Thank you, Mason.
Keep yourself warm, Grandad.
Aye, I will.
Mom! In here! Ironworks chimney's blowing this way today. I could taste it when I woke up.
I passed Jean on the way here. We've gone too far when it dawned on me.
She'll not mind. She likes walking along the beach. That's hot.
Hello, sis.
Give over.
Is Grandad up?
Yeah, he's in the front.
Oh, I'd better go and say hello.
She thinks she saw Jean on the way here. You go to Dawes Lane Club, don't you?
Hi.
Ever seen her there?
Yeah, why?
No place for married women.
Owen's dead, Mum.
I'm ready. Where's Keir?
He's gone.
Oh, where do you want me to drop you, Dad?
Oh, your yard'll do.
I'm going up the lake to pick up my workmate. I'll drop you in town.
I didn't know you were doing well enough to take on help.
I found somebody that does it for love.
Gone quiet. Not for long. I've one lad working overtime, another in love with the yard, and your father looking for the promised land in committee as if it was a séance. And they all come in when they feel like it, saying, "Where's me tea?" As if all I've got to do is wave me wand.
Jump in, yeah?
Ironworks, is it?
Aye.
I wish my daddy would buy me a car.
It's dangerous. It's very dangerous round here.
Sorry.
Every time we come past, you jump up there. Now,
Jean,
you must let
no.
me do as you're told.
No more.
It's no good just telling him. Sometimes he just needs a wallop.
Go. Stop me out. Don't move. That's it.
Thanks, Dad.
Oh, look at your clothes. There's 2 buttons off here. Look at the back. Look at it. Look at it! Luke! Can you see it? Well, Luke! 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 No! No!
Morning.
She's still in bed.
Asleep.
No. Just call up the stairs and there's some coffee in the kitchen if you don't mind waiting.
I was bred to it.
That's where I place my trust.
Thanks. You're welcome. What does it feel like to own that lot?
I don't own it. My father does.
You work for him, don't you?
Yes.
You run his estates.
Yes, and I could have been next in line here if I'd wanted.
What put you off the muck?
I can't win with you, can I, Keir? It was a black day for you when I married Peg, wasn't it?
It's nothing personal.
I envy you, you know.
Oh?
I wonder if you'd have envied me if things had been reversed.
We shall never know that, shall we? See ya.
That's where I place my trust, she said.
Guilt? I thought that was my disease. Must be catching.
Why should she expect me to be above reproach? She wasn't, and she's married.
Do as I say, not as I do.
She does know me record. And poor little half-German bastard in the world already because of me. Wonder what he'll think of me when he grows up.
His mother will tell him that you wanted to marry her, and then the Russians came between. Wouldn't she?
Maybe.
What would you do if she came to England?
Herta's married.
And if she was free?
Why don't you ask me what I'd do if you were free?
I am.
Of your religion?
I want to talk about our religion.
I thought women liked to talk about their complaints.
But you won't become a Catholic. You won't let me bring Daddy's allowance with me. You're no more free than I am. Chained to pride, slave to that yard.
I can work my way out from there. But not lying here, I can't.
Want me to come with you?
That's why I came here this morning, believe it or not. Get fed up there, me.
Come on, then.
Your letter reached me after a long time, as always. Yes, my husband gave me the letter, which Waters gave to him, almost a year ago. The letter in which you asked me to stay with our son. As much as I wanted to come, I would not have come without him. You should know that. He's like you, our son, and he reminds me. I have given him the medal which you sent to me, but I did not tell him who it is from. What is gone is gone.
I used to like going to the market, especially in winter. Seeing the traders stamping their feet to keep warm, and cracking jokes. All the people's faces glowing, warm and friendly.
Don't you go no more, then?
Oh, I started to feel people were watching me, talking about me. There's that stuck-up Hayward lass that married Warrington brass.
People, you should take no heed.
What you doing with that? Give it to me.
Oh, give it to me. I can darn it. She forgets. She's aged since her Owen died. Aye, and your dad's aged too.
Where's Dad gone?
General Management Committee, it sounded like. One of his committees at any road. Labour lot. They're after a new MP, he says. Tom Poster's 1 foot in the grave, they reckon.
Oh, I miss this fire.
There's a tater for you.
It's an odd sort of choice.
It was unanimous.
What about Ainscow?
Not liked.
And me?
Oh, a gentleman in the best sense of the word, somebody said.
Oh, dear.
There's one thing I have to ask you, John. About you and Beth.
Are we going to stay separated, you mean?
If you tell me to mind my own damn business, the offer still stands.
I'm pretty sure we shall get together again soon.
Good. Good. Yes, young Mark, I must tell you, marrying that Labour man's daughter carried a lot of weight. You see, we need a new concept. A party of the people, not just one particular class. Break down the barriers. Far too many damn county types in the party. Oh, no, please. Oh.
Good luck, Bert.
Hello, Tom.
John know what you're up to yet?
No. Didn't seem to be any point in presenting him with a theoretical situation.
If you're not selected here today, you will fight for labour elsewhere.
Nobody's asked me to.
If they do.
No, I don't know, Tom. If I were younger, I'd have no doubts. And if my marriage weren't mendable.
Is it?
It might be. Seems to take me more seriously these days. Wants to talk.
Aye, and you?
I escape into trivialities, like he used to do.
And if you are chosen today?
It's going to be a trauma for him, isn't it? How long will I have?
Before I leave the scene, you mean?
I'd like to go back to Germany for a few days, see my refugees. Prague, too. Though I doubt if they'll allow it, now that Mazarik's dead and the communists are in.
Don't think he killed himself. I want to ride in a tram car through Prague and say I don't think much of our present government. They murdered him all right.
The General Management Committee better. Just make a 10-minute speech. I'd love to be a fly on the wall.
Oh, politics bore me. It's as if there was nothing else to life these days.
Beauty of Latin America on this cold, damp summer morning. So open up your heart, beat of the Ecuador's Latin American Orchestra playing Quanto Lo Gusta.
If that spanner slips.
I happen to know what I'm doing, thank you. Well, that'd look pretty hard to find a woman who'd passed her vehicle maintenance course with flying colours.
And even harder for one with your chassis.
Well, that didn't sound too boastful.
Like the song says, we were made for each other.
Which song?
Every damn song. Sentimental rubbish.
You and I have been through all that before, haven't we? There were two other people. We put all that sentimental rubbish behind us.
Along with politics, religion. Religion, I said.
I heard what you said.
A bit like your brother, aren't you? Peg saved him the agony by becoming a Catholic. Marriage of true minds. Rubbish.
It's all rubbish to you, isn't it?
What do you want, Ross?
I said I'm not content with what I've got.
A working relationship.
That's how you see it, is it?
If they select me, it'll be to some extent because I'm a Tory defector, right?
Yeah, that's right. And they also like the fact that your Mark has married our Peck.
All the wrong reasons.
Beth, concentrate on your speech.
I wish they didn't wait until after all the interviews. I'd sooner have got it over all at once.
Local tradition. We got our own way of doing things around here. I thought women liked making speeches.
Not this one, I assure you. Excuse me.
Bit apprehensive, don't you think, Tom?
Oh, woman in a man's world. Like to see her win, mind. I just wonder how much she wants to.
Wants to?
Get the feeling she'd like to give her marriage another try. Not like us, these Catholics, George. Can't so easily take up another option, start again. It's a hard religion.
Well, maybe they're right. Too many marriages are breaking up these days.
It's not surprising. Men coming back after 4 or 5 years away, virtual strangers. Lost camaraderie of war.
Oh, so.
Still, your lads are all right.
Mrs. Blaze?
Yeah?
Jack asked me to come. He said you'd be here with his snap.
He's all right, isn't he?
Yeah, he's in the middle of a job, that's all.
Well, his medicine's in there as well. I bring it myself because I can't trust him to take it if I don't.
I'll see he takes it. I'll let him on that if he's awkward.
No, he shouldn't be doing overtime.
He's all right. His mates keep an eye on him.
It's Keir Haywards, isn't it? He's talked about you. You don't remember me, do you? It's Caulfield's class at Lowther Street.
That's right. It's going back a bit. I'll have to go.
Oh, come round and see us. Jack says you get on.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, come round.
Yeah, I will then. Right.
Mrs. Warrington, will you come in now, please?
Earlier this year, some of you may have seen a photograph in the newspapers. It was a photograph of the Emperor Hirohito, a kind of god to the Japanese, against whom our sons fought during the war, and at whose hands so many of them suffered terrible cruelty. In this photograph, we saw him stripped of his kingly trappings, wearing a lounge suit. He was making his first ever visit to a factory. Behind him, the older Japanese spectators bowed low, didn't dare to raise their eyes, but the young stood up, and some of them even smiled. There was hope in that photograph.
Excuse me, Lord.
The war has changed my life, too. A woman. A member of a privileged class. As the barriers broke down, never perhaps completely, but enough for you and me to take in something of what life was like on the other side. We smiled at each other, chatted to relieve the boredom in those awful trains, smoked each other's cigarettes. We worked together as equals. Uniting, we lost our chains. Oh, the relief in that breakdown of conventions. In feeling oneself a part of, instead of just a part. Attitudes I'd carried around with me for years fell away. I felt free. And my poor friends in the Tory party, my poor friends, I wish that they too could lose their chains.
Well, I don't think anyone expects an immediate answer, John. After all, you've got the ironworks to run and the estate.
I'm not totally against what Attler's government is doing. But I doubt if we'd have done it differently, that's all.
There'll be a few raised eyebrows on the Executive Council if you take that line.
A majority of raised eyebrows? Well, there you are. You know it and I know it. Why run away from the truth? There's plenty of ammunition on our side of the balance sheet. The uncertainty of nationalization.
Oh, yeah. They seem determined to nationalize your industry, John.
Oh, yeah. Morrison said in the House last month they'd have to invoke the guillotine to pass the bill.
Well, it's a dying government.
Oh, yes. They're old men, wanting to see Jerusalem in their time and flogging themselves to death in the process. It's taken them until July of this year to get the health service going.
Bevan had to yield to the doctors on status there, didn't he? And not civil servants yet, thank God.
Lower than vermin, he called us. I think it hurt the Labour Party more than it hurt us.
So you're not totally uninterested in the proposition?
No, I'm not. I've no real political ambition, but I care very much about preserving an alternative. That's all it would be in this constituency.
Well, a general election's at least a year away. But Poster's a sick man.
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't be surprised if we didn't have a by-election before many months are out.
When would you need to know?
End of the month, be too soon?
Here's Mark.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realise...
No, I'm just going. You won't remember me, will you, Mark?
Major Robinson, isn't it?
Oh, I don't use the Major now, old boy. Too many desk-bound Johnnies flogging their wartime titles as it is. As if we'd won some sort of game. End of the month, all right?
Yes, yes.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Are you staying for Christmas?
Yes, we'll be here.
I'll phone you.
All right. Bye, Morris.
Chairman of the local Tories, isn't he?
Robinson? Yes, yes, he is. My old job before the war. He was asking about you. Surprised you hadn't followed me into the works.
Maybe I should have. I'm not much damn use on the estate.
What makes you think that?
It seems to be your manager's opinion. He didn't actually say so. Hardly dare, would he, bearing in mind the family connection?
I've always found Robert straightforward enough.
Well, then it's obviously me.
But I thought you liked the work.
Well, I did, at first. I miss Owen.
Yes, yes, he was a good chap. Robert spoke well of him. Couldn't understand.
Hardly an ordinary sort of death, was it? After what he must have survived in that Japanese prisoner of war camp.
Perhaps that's what he didn't survive.
It's more to do with his wife, I think.
What?
She got involved with the Ukrainian during the war.
Oh. Mark, your mother may be coming back here to live.
She said so.
Well, not in so many words, but I think she may. Now, don't be too disappointed in her. Maybe she fears what I fear, what I sometimes find myself fearing. The thought of growing old alone.
Stop it!
Stop it. You've got oil on your nose.
So have you now. What's wrong with a bit of honest muck on your face?
There's a time and there's a place. Complaining. After this morning, greedy girls.
It's a relief, isn't it, though? I'm still too broke to talk about married seas.
Didn't even know the thought had entered your head.
Oh, yes, you damn well did. Of course, I'll not be able to keep you in the manner to which you've been accustomed. Not till I make me first million.
Capitalist.
And what are you?
Me? I'm nothing. Me.
If it's not in here, it's not in the house. And I can't see it being in here. I call it my should but I can't box.
You what?
Things I should throw away but haven't got the heart. They all go in here. Oh, look at that.
What is it?
A postcard our Keir sent when he went on a choir trip. And he only went for a day. Oh, it's a bundle of old letters, that.
That's Owen's writing.
All the letters he sent me when he went in the forces, right up to his last from the Far East. I'd forgotten they were there. Put them on the fire for me, will you?
Can I read them?
Could you?
I've read mine twice at least since he died. I've thought about it, dwelled on it even. It's the only way I can live with it, facing it. When Owen comes into my head, I let him stay there. I don't push him out. Ernst, too. Is he still alive, I wonder?
Where's Colin?
He's at my mother's. He goes there a lot these days. He sleeps there sometimes, when I go to the club.
Yes, I heard you go to the club.
You don't mind, do you?
No.
You and George were good about Ernst. I shall never forget that. Life goes on, you said.
I promised Lovey a picture of the boat to show his pals at that school he's at.
Blake's got a camera.
Oh, aye, has he? I so he has. I'll ask Blake.
Burn them.
You can't shut the past out any more than you can stop the future. Tell her I'm right, Grandad.
Oh, he's off. Closes his eyes and he's asleep. Must be his age. I wish I could do it.
Last year, the Russians blocked the use of independent observers at the so-called free elections in Poland, something they had agreed to both at Yalta and at Potsdam. Nagy resigned in Hungary. Petkov was hanged in Bulgaria after confessing. To what? They were among the leading anti-fascists of their time. Oh, we may have stopped dismantling our air raid shelters this year, but we hide behind our moat still. We talk of the dollar gap, sterling balances. We concentrate our venom on spivs. We live on an island entire of itself, we think, and yet in Europe the war goes on. A war for the right to speak your mind. To be able to stand up without fear and say, I do not like this present government. If you select me, and if the people elect me to serve them, I will fight in that war in your parliament. All of us who come before you, I'm sure, have some special purpose which transcends all others. Now you know mine. It may not be your own priority, but without it, what do we have?
Kirby, you want to see the industry nationalised?
I can understand why they want it in a way. Came from Jarrow as a lad, the town that was murdered, as they say. Now, Jarrow could have had a steel works, but the money men wouldn't have it. And Labour's never forgotten that.
We need capital. Machinery's like the people, worn out with war work. We lost 6 men to the ordnance factory up the coast last month.
It's blatant poaching. Who told you that, Mr. John?
George Hayward, wages department. My son married his daughter. I've got a spy in the camp, you see. He says it's because we don't pay as well.
Well, we all know George's views. That's his lad over there, young Keir.
Oh, yes. I haven't seen him since the wedding. Wants to be a writer, I think his father said.
Keeps odd company.
He does?
Jack Blaze. Strong union man. Bit of a communist, I think. Not that he's not a decent sort of bloke. He's not up to the job, really. We've got some disease out east in the war, but the lads cover up for him. So we turn a blind eye. And I wouldn't say he was a troublemaker.
Young Hayward share his views, do you think?
So they say.
Perhaps I should have a word with him. Or maybe not. Wouldn't want to embarrass him.
Hello, my love.
You sound happy.
Mason told me you were here. Sorry I was out.
Chimes don't seem to work.
What?
The chimes don't seem to work.
Oh, they haven't worked since the army moved out of here. I'll have it seen to, one of these days.
Met Mark on the way. Gone to collect Peg at the Haywards. those two been quarrelling?
I haven't heard any raised voices from the flat yet. Is that oil on your cheek?
Oh, probably.
Here. Who's this? Here, let me. There. Oh. Caca. Roz, I don't think your brother's too keen on his job. Could you have a word with him sometime?
Can't you?
Well, I tried to talk to him about his mother this morning, but he made some excuse about having to go somewhere. Abrupt, almost rude. Matter of fact, I feel quite angry. I didn't show it, of course.
Maybe you should have.
Well, I know he hasn't been getting on too well with Roberts. Roberts did try to warn me. Anyway, what about you? What have you been doing with yourself?
Oh, I stripped down a carburettor, fitted some brake linings, polished a radiator or two.
My goodness. What about young Hayward? How's he doing down there?
Struggling.
He'll come through, if the country does.
Will I, though?
Ah.
Oh, hello. You just finished?
Aye. You want a drink?
Oh, no, it's for the committee meeting. They've been at it most of the day.
Heated debate.
Yeah, it was that, all right. I thought this might help to cool them down.
Choosing your next parliamentary candidate?
Yeah, who told you that? I didn't.
Rose told me.
Yeah, well, for God's sake, keep quiet about it. We don't want the Tories to know. Not yet. So?
Vitamix. A Warrington standing for Labour. That'll put the cat among the pigeons.
You vote for her, would you?
You want me back in the fold?
No, I'm not speaking personally or even locally. We'd win around here if we put up Archie Andrews. No, it's what people like you are going to do at the next general election that bothers me.
I abstained at the last one.
I felt sure you'd voted for them.
I was inclined to. When it came to making the sign of the cross, rigor mortis set in.
Look, someone like Beth, could she swing you back to Labour?
Given a choice between whom?
Well, her and, say, someone like your brother Keir.
I'm not likely to vote for anarchy and chaos.
I wanted to stand once myself, you know, a long time ago.
Why didn't you?
Because I belong to a generation of working men kept in their place by being deprived of a decent education. Some of them got through in spite of it. I might have been one of them if it hadn't been something your granddad once said to me when he was laying into Labour. They're not educated men. That's what he said.
I think I'll go.
What?
Can I have Mason to run me down?
I thought you said your mother was meeting you here.
She is. You two want to be alone. And I'm hopeless at making excuses that don't sound like excuses.
You want me to win, don't you?
Is it a game?
It sometimes seems like a game. Like snakes and ladders. One move and the whole picture changes. For better, for worse. Well, life's like that sometimes, isn't it? Even when you suspect the dice, you go on playing and hoping. Oh, I like that.
It's called the new look.
Yes, I know. Can't change your life, change your dress, eh? If you knew how much I want you to be settled, contented. If it'll make you happy, marry the man.
You'll square it with God, will you?
Oh.
Men, no such thing. Lads they are all their lives. What's this one like?
Oh, he's not so bad.
Quiet, isn't he?
He only speaks when he's spoken to.
Oh, they're all like that the first year they wed. Like little lambs, pictures of innocence.
Where's young Robert?
Robert's away at school. Sorry, he's getting a bit deaf.
Who's getting deaf?
Either that or he chooses to hear what he wants to hear. Off he goes again. Lovely way to live. One foot in today and t'other in yesterday. Still, I suppose we're all like that sometimes. Oh, I forgot to close that bedroom window.
I'll do it.
I've got 2 legs.
I'll close it.
Oh, he's spoken.
No use trying to stop her. I've been trying for years. Ever since she had rheumatic fever.
I do try.
I know you do. But you might as well try stopping the tide. She lives for today. Does it worry you?
Yes. We must go.
Why has she changed her doctor?
I didn't know she had.
Not because of you, then.
Oh, good heavens, no.
Jean let it out. Do you know him?
What's his name?
Moore.
Moore? No, I don't.
I thought you might, him being a Catholic.
Peg!
We going?
Looks like it.
Oh, ta-ra, Mum. I'll see you next week.
All right, love. Yes, don't leave it too long.
No.
And wrap up well. That wind's bitter. Goes through you. You got everything?
Yes, think so.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for everything. Bye.
Bye.
You wouldn't think there was a war on here in Singapore, so you needn't worry about me. How's Blake like in the army? Tell him he wants to get himself posted out here. Look after Jean and young Cole for me. I know you will, you and Dad. It's fine out here, but I'll be glad to get back to good old Blighty. It's true what they say, Mum. There's no place like home.
Sold any good cars lately?
No. I might have a buyer for Mark's old one.
Who has money for cars? It's all crawling out through the cracks in the floorboards now, is it? All that loot from the war.
Yeah, I dare say that's where some of it comes from.
There was I, sitting over Dresden, looking down at the fires. Things I've done for England.
See the bloke over there?
True, eh?
Made a fortune organising black market meat. He was a farmer when the war broke out.
I thought contact with nature was supposed to make people beautiful.
There's Jean.
Now I've seen everything.
The life's her own, kid.
A bloke like that after Owen? He hanged himself for England.
Maybe she wants somebody to hate for a change. It's the other where the pain is sooner or later, somewhere along the line. She knows more about it than anybody does. Aren't you usually stirring it up down the con club?
I only go for the beer. Same again.
Somebody you know?
She belongs to somebody I know.
Belongs? I thought you idealists wanted to free women from being chattels to men. I'm off.
Tell Mum I not belong. He took his medicine.
Oh, yeah, I know. He got back home as I was coming out.
He's all on his own, is he?
Well, his tea was on the table. When he's had it, he'll go to bed. He's dead when he comes home after overtime. Or any other night come to that. I told you this morning he shouldn't be doing overtime. What do you think I'm doing here?
Have you been here long?
First week. And I don't find it much fun either, if that's what you happen to be thinking.
Sorry.
You like him.
Have I?
Believes in the brotherhood of man. Takes it for granted we understand he means women as well. Oh, we tag along after men, don't we?
Ah, that's not how he really sees it.
I know how he sees it, better than you do. Now, do you want serving or are you just passing through?
I asked for that, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
I'll have a pint of mild. I'd not want a woman's life for all I'm not taken with me home.
Come away from there, come away! Leave it! Oh, never mind.
My stethoscope and everything I had is in that book. Everything.
I had no idea. No idea at all.
I couldn't tell you. Not just your connection with the Tories, but it would all have been for nothing if I hadn't been selected.
Well, I know you had picked up some radical ideas in the war years when we were apart, but this, I had no idea.
You thought I was content to play Lady Bountiful to starving refugees.
Was it that fellow you were involved with in the war? He was something in politics, wasn't he? My God, will we ever be done with that war?
It was more than the war, John.
More?
We were apart before that. In this house. Apart.
I'd no idea.
It's not an accusation. Not against you. You had your world, you were born to it. I chose it, for God's sake, when I married you. But you were stuck with yours. I just stumbled across my new world. It wasn't something I was consciously looking for, like the Holy Grail. Alone in the house one day, picking up a book to pass the hours, something I read. Nothing very important or exciting, I think. I can't even remember exactly what it was now. Except that it made me want to read on.
Why do I find it so hard to communicate? I thought we were coming towards some kind of understanding.
We are.
But this is too late.
Oh, we shall still be friends, I hope.
Friends.